Let me turn it down. How's everybody doing? It is hot. Nailed it. Yeah, how's everybody? Let's get this sorted out. Get that turned off. Looking good. Looking good. Jamie, how you doing, mate? Good to see you. Good to see you. And Steve, good to see you, mate. Yeah. How's it going? You bought those lenses yet, Steve? 23 in yours. Nice. Yeah. I just turned on the. I was like, okay, I'll turn the fan off and do the stream without the fan. So, and the fan has a temperature readout. This is like 30 degrees on top. And I was like, I can't turn that off. Like, that's with the fan on. It's 30 degrees. So if you can hear a fan in here, tough, I guess. Like, unlucky. Don't use headphones. Yeah. It's occasionally I get a waft, a cat cough of air will grace me. But other than that, yeah, not much. Not much in terms of respite from the heat in here. It's funny though, right? Because I was chatting to American friends last night, and they were taking the mick. You know, it's pretty unsympathetic of them, if I'm honest. Because you know, they were going like, you know, I mean, I know they're using funny temperatures over there, but you know, it's like 30 is nothing. 30 is nothing, Jake. It's like 35 on a cool day here. What the Americans don't seem to understand is we are not designed for this heat, right? We got everything's carpeted in here, right? Carpet everywhere, thick carpet, so nice fur on the floor. Everything's double glazed, so like all the windows just not letting anything out. Double glazed. What else? We've got no air conditioning. Right, nobody has air conditioning here. You're lucky if the shops have air conditioning. So yeah, so like all we're doing is moving warm air around. What else? Oh, insulation, right? Tons of insulation in the roof. So we've just got 2 floors above us of just like polystyrene and shredded glass, like just keeping us warm. So it is sticky here. Yeah, not good. The other thing is like, oh, you know, maybe, you know, close the curtains, keep everything sealed in. It's like, are you kidding me? No, we're not doing that. We got like 2 days of sun a year. Like, we're not blocking that out. We moan about the rain, and look, we're just gonna have to moan about the sun as well. We can't be blocking out that sun. We gotta let it in. And then complain about it. Norm, how you doing? Belfast, 17 degrees. Really? Damn, okay. That's nice. That's cozy. Yeah, that's good stuff, man. Could do with a bit of 17. Cold flannel to the nethers. Nice. Maybe if I just sit on a cold flannel, mate. That'd feel real good by the end of the stream. Yeah. Hey Vlad, how you doing, mate? Is flannel just specific to England? Is that do people have flannels outside of England? Because I so rarely hear that word, Jamie. Is that like, it feels like maybe that's a word like my gran would use, a flannel. Yeah, like you get flannel shirts, but that's not what Jamie's talking about. A flannel is a square of fabric that you get wet. Yeah. Steve says no lenses for a while. Come on, you can't put it off forever, Steve. You can't put it off forever, mate. Yeah. My next purchase is in Mac Studio. Okay. What do you mean? So what do you like? What is that Mac Studio? What are you purchasing? Is an Mac Studio? So what like you're just getting a whole like a whole new laptop or something, or a tower? What are you doing? Think for your sake, leave the fan on. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you. Finally, somebody in my corner. Hey, Lizzie, how you doing, mate? Everyone, Epic Dragon Photography in Arkansas, USA. What's the temperature in Arkansas, Lizzie? Just unrelated. Just thought I'd ask. What is the temperature? Oh, she said 96 Fahrenheit. Let's have a look. What is that? What is that in new money? Let's have a look. She said 96. So what do we got here? Celsius to Fs. What do we got? We want to go the other way. Yeah. We want to go Fahrenheit, Celsius. So what you got? 96. Vlad's already typed in. I can feel it. 35. Pfft. Liz, it's not competition. Yeah, like it's fine. 30 is fine. Let's have a look. These are my best purchase in recent years. Was an aircon, only in 3 rooms. Jesus, man, what's it like being bougie like that? Only in 3. All right, King of England here. Google says it's 35 Celsius. Oh, there you go. See, Lizzie's already done it. I'll just leave, guys. I think you guys can take it from here. You just do your own stream. Sterling, how you doing, mate? How you doing? What are these numbers by everybody in chat? Can you guys see that? There's a crown and a number next to your names. What does that mean? It's the first time I've seen that. Yeah. Currently Windows, but decided to try Mac OS after going a brief spell 12 years back. Really, Steve? Interesting. Okay. Yeah. It's like I used Apple for years, like when I was in college and that sort of stuff, and in studios, and then I worked in another studio for many years, and they only had Windows, and it was tough. It was tough, yeah. So I was definitely glad to go back, to like to Apple, just because, I'm daft. Mac is just easier, yeah. It's actually a nice cool day here. Usually it's up in the hundreds. Oh wow, here we go. Here come the Americans just giving it the big one. Like, this is nothing. I knew it. Do you have air conditioning on, Liz? Means we're popular on the channel. It means you're popular. Okay. Jamie, your number's gone down. So, because when you first joined the stream, there was a crown with a number 1 next to it. And now you're a crown with a number 3 next to it. You got to step your game up. It used to be number 1. That's Lizzie's number 1. I don't know what that means. I have no idea why that's going up and down so much. But I'm all for it. Vlad hasn't even got one. Oh no, he's got number 2 up there. Right. Let's have a look. That's what we're doing today. Those of you just joining, this is the weather channel. We'll be covering a lot of the weather around the world here today. Interspersed with weather updates, we will be covering some photography news, and we're also very fortunate that Jamie has sent over his new book. He's finally got his book out, which is looking awesome, looking very good. So we'll be taking a look at that. Villains is called. Yes, we'll be taking a close look at that. So yeah, I got it all set up here. Watch me struggle through the crotch cam again, and then we'll also be looking at a couple of bits from Godox here. So looking at the X3 here, which is the trigger. Just have a quick look at that. But the main thing I want to be talking about today is the time with the Godox V100 speedlight thing. But interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. This is not something that I thought I would have fun with, but yeah, it's actually been good testing this out. So have a look at that, and we'll also be looking at your images as well. So giving any feedback on any images you post. If you're not aware of where that is, we can do that here. Let me grab the link, pop that in chat. So yeah, if you're not sure what this is, let's have a look. Let's go to, yeah, okay. So that's all looking good. We can turn that down. Microphone's on. Nice, yeah. So yeah, this is the share a shoot, right? So pop your image in the comments in there, and we will take a look at it later on. So in here you can see people have already popped some images in there, and we'll go through and take a look and, you know, offer any feedback to anybody who is looking for it. But yeah, we got a few in there today. To be fair, I'm sure most people are out enjoying the sun, unless unless Thingy's doing another stream on Adorama again. Let's have a look. Yes, but I'm usually cold all the time. I can do with just a fan. That's wild. I think it's just a case of how much you interact on the stream. Okay. Yeah, congrats, Jamie. Yeah, because I know those of you who've been tuning into the stream for a while now know that Jamie's been working on this, toiling on this for a good on this book for a good long while. So it's cool to actually see it. And there is a lot in here, like a lot of images. I had no idea Jamie was doing that level of work. Jamie, what is it? Would you say it was 236 images or something? It's just a huge body of work there. It's absolutely crazy. Yeah. So definitely be checking that out. Yeah. It's been a bit of my life for the last 2 years. I bet, man. Yeah, I bet. Bringing a book like that to life is not as easy as it looks. So yeah. Okay. So got old Vlad. Let's pop one in there. Nice. So I just had to check that wasn't just horrendous banding. I think maybe I haven't refreshed it. There's something else in the comments here. Nice. Okay. Cool. Okay then. So let's have a look. What do we got here? Let's have a look at some bits and pieces. So I haven't really been following the news religiously or anything like that. We can look at a couple of bits. I haven't really seen, like it's been a bit of a weird week, so I haven't really been following the news. There was a couple of bits that just kind of caught my eye. One of them was just a kind of a big push from GoPro recently. Does anybody own a GoPro? Like most of us at one point or another got a GoPro, right? It's one of those products that kind of everybody got at one point. Yeah, I think I got mine. My old one here. I don't know what this one is. This is like a GoPro. I wouldn't have a clue. But yeah, it's one of those products that kind of everybody bought when they were like really popular. Originally when they came out, like everybody had one. It's like, do you need one? Not really, but I gotta get it. I think it says on the side here. This is a Hero 5, right? And I mean, we kind of convinced ourselves that we needed it for time lapse, like of BTS or something like that. And look, it was good for that. But I certainly wasn't skydiving that needed this GoPro for it, you know. But everybody got it at one point. Yeah, Sterling's got one. You got a crown. Oh, you number one. No, Sterling, mate. Yeah, pull one during lockdowns. Record my walks. That's it, right? I think yeah. So somebody got Gruber have a relationship with them. Yeah. So if that's creating the mounts, that's true. Yeah, you have been doing that with the mounts. Yeah, it is one of those things, right? I got it, and then like I kind of used it occasionally, and I did some, like I said, time lapse of shoots, but the battery on it, I don't know whether it was like just back in the day and whether the batteries are a lot better now, but if you're doing like time lapse, it just didn't last like more than an hour, really. So I was like, I didn't really use it a ton, but it was kind of interesting. Everybody got one, and then as soon as you had it, it's like I don't really need to get a new one, like an updated one. But I was just kind of seeing some of the things that they were doing with it. They brought out this new one now. What are we on? 13. What did I say? I had 5. Jesus Christ. It's got 13 now, and it's kind of interesting. They've got this modular system that some people are going for. It does look pretty cool, like front camera, so you're filming yourself and stuff. I don't know, like obviously there's a lot of people doing work where they're kind of filming themselves. So these modular lenses on the front, ultra wides, bits and pieces like that. We got stop motion blur. Oh, is it like a? Neutral densities. Okay. Oh, so that's why they're doing the blur, because of the neutral densities. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Yeah. And then check this. Like anamorphic lens hood thing. Like, what on earth? I really don't feel this footage shows it off, but yeah, it's kind of. I won't lie, I am intrigued by that. It does look kind of crazy. So yeah, again, I don't think this really footage shows it off, so I might have to look at what other people are doing with it. So this is cool, right? You just actually can charge them and use it at the same time. That was a pain in the bum before. You couldn't really do that. So that is pretty cool. You can do time lapse now without any worry of it dying, which is really cool. And then you just got all the social media stuff that people are using. 5.3K video. That's interesting. I would need to see some like proper uncompressed footage of that, because I wonder what it's looked like coming through that lens, because the lens isn't like, it is small, but it seems to be pretty good. So yeah, GoPros have come just crazy far now. Yeah, there's just so much has been done to them, and then there's still 300 quid. So I mean, not the end of the world, right? Oh, shoot in mobile phone mode, love it, clever. I mean, even though surely that's just adding black bars, right? Is that, or is, yeah, weird. Yeah. Let's have a look. GoPro, love-hate relationship with them. Creates amazing mounts. Yeah. The DJI Osmosis crushed everyone else. Yeah, good point, Sterling. That's right. Yeah, my wife has been banging on about that. She's been tempted to get one, and I think she nearly got one for a trip that we did. I got to say, when I was looking at it, I was like, that is pretty good. Yeah. Also, how this company is plummeting in stocks. You're talking about GoPro, right? Right, Vlad? I mean, it's got to be. Now, that was kind of my point. Right? Everybody bought one, and then never really bought one again. It's really difficult to kind of. They just had this huge spike when they came out. Like everybody I knew had one, and whether they used it or not. And so I have no doubt at all that the stock is absolutely tanking. And in fact, I'm amazed that they've managed to hang it together for so long. I presume somebody will buy them, Chinese company will buy them or something like that. Yeah. Both DJI and GoPro are so dependent on the app. Both the apps are horrible. Yeah, okay. Is the GoPro app terrible, is it? I always had a problem connecting and reconnecting, which is like the most important thing, right? Like I really, most of the time, I just want to hit record. So I'm not really, even if it doesn't have a huge amount of options inside the app, I can live with that. But if it needs to connect seamlessly, every time I had an issue with it connecting, if that's what you're referring to, yeah, which is definitely a deal breaker for sure, yeah. So nobody's bought one recently then, and yeah, they've got so many features now. It's crazy. So many are adding features to it. Fair play. Like I said, they're on the 13 now, and when I bought mine years ago, it was on the 5. So like, they definitely made a lot of upgrades over the years. Yeah. If you can get Wi-Fi remote, yeah, exactly. That was the issue. Yeah, but if you have the phone around, it's going to create problems, and the camera can only connect to one device at a time, so it will crash. Really? Okay. Interesting. Okay, yeah, I never tried anything more than just the one, but okay, yeah. I can see how this screen on the front would be super useful. Yeah, okay. So we're just kind of joking about lenses and that sort of stuff, and the anamorphics and that sort of thing. And Steve sent this to me about these cinematic lenses and some of the sales, and I'm like, is it really getting to a point now where some of these lenses are actually coming down in price? Now I know people are going to throw their toys out the pram and go, Jesus Christ, they're still expensive, and yeah, like, I get it, right? I get it. Some of these are still very expensive, but you got to understand that some of these anamorphic lenses used to be 16 grand or something. Like it was literally unattainable. So I think that maybe with more video just being more prolific now, everybody having like a video camera and people shooting more video, and the buzz around the C word, and just meaning that more and more people are buying them, that some of these lenses can actually come down in price finally. But I am like anamorphic for 390 quid. I struggle to believe that that's going to be viable, right? I really do. But you know, if it's going to give even close to the kind of anamorphic look, then I would be very very tempted to see what it's doing. Yeah. Now, obviously, you know, these ones are a step up. They're still not the 16 grand that some of them can be. Oh, these are all the T-stops ones. 2 grand. So pretty much all 2 grand there. But I gotta say, yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, when Steve sent this to me, it kind of got me thinking, because you just automatically just discard it instantly when anybody talks about anamorphic lenses. It's just like, yeah, no, never gonna happen. But I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. I can rant for 10 minutes about my GoPro, and it's not an ancient one like yours. I got the 11. It's not ancient. I mean, yeah, call it what it is, mate. No, I get it. I mean, you're not wrong. Yeah. Has anybody here shot with an anamorphic lens in any form or another? Steve, you said you had, or you used to shoot cinema stuff. Have you shot with the anamorphics? Yeah. Like, what would this... Like, this is 56, 1.2. Oh, it's APS-C. That's 24. 1.2 APS-C. Okay. We've got T 2.9. Blue flare. There you go. Interesting. Yeah, less than 600 quid, man. Yeah. 75 mil, usable for sure. 2.9 T-stop. Yeah. Those of you not aware what this T-stops thing is, you have aperture and f-stops, which is what we use, right? F-stops, and then T-stops, which is typically what cinema uses. Now, the issue that aperture and f-stops have is that the f-stop is just measuring the size of the hole, right? So the aperture blade when it's open and closed, that's what an f-stop is measuring. It's literally the size of the hole. What T-stops are doing is measuring the light actually being received, right? So you can have, as some of you may well have encountered this before, but you can have zoom lenses. Like I've got a 24-70 zoom lens, and I can put that to f2.8, and then I can get my prime 85 or prime 105 lens and set that to f2.8, and the 105 is at least a stop brighter, right? So you can have the same aperture, you can have the same f-stop, but you can have different brightnesses. This is where T-stops become a little bit more precise, right? Which is why cinema uses them, and this is why you'll see T-stops on these lenses and not f-stops. So yeah, just something to watch out for. This is well when you see, I think there's this discord between like classroom photography and real life photography that we kind of all have to go through, like the inverse square law principle, right? I've spoken about this before, and it's like, it's a great classroom tool to kind of get people thinking about it and kind of getting a rough idea of it, but inverse square law in reality in a studio with walls in different colors and low ceilings, or just like modifiers, changing the shape of the light and that sort of stuff, like the inverse square law is really just a very rough guide at best. And same with light meters, right? Light meters are a great tool in the classroom, but when we use them in reality, like if I was to use a light meter with my 105 lens, all my shots are going to be overexposed by one stop, right? So you like, back in the day when we used to use light meters in the studio, they'd be calibrated to the actual lens, right? You wouldn't just buy one off the shelf, which is what people do now. So that's what I mean. It is interesting. There's so many of these things that are like classroom photography, and then there's like real life photography that is not quite as cut and dry as we're led to believe, Okay. Oh, I had to show this. You guys seen this? This smoke vest thing? This is wild. Let's see. Let me just... I shouldn't play any sound, but yeah. So This is crazy. Have you seen this? I think if you're doing cosplay though, makes a lot of sense. But it's very niche. Yeah, it's very niche. When I saw this, I thought it was a meme. I didn't think it was actually like a real product. But kind of crazy. So to be fair, there is a bunch of cosplay photographers in here. I could see that being useful. And do you know what? It's not the end of the world. Like 60 quid, right? It's not crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's got, yeah. But that's like, I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah. It is cool, Lizzie, right? It is kind of interesting, but I honestly thought it was a joke to begin with, and then I was like, okay. The more I saw it, I was like, okay. I mean, I don't think anything that I would use that would be anything that I would shoot would be viable for it, but I think it's, I could see uses for it for sure. Again, like shooting video, right? Be like the only way you could do it. So maybe I know, same. I definitely thought it was a meme to begin with, and then I saw more on it, and I was like, oh, hang on a minute. Yeah. I've been wanting to get into cosplay photography, especially since I learned light painting. Yeah, true. I could see that being useful. People with some of the weapons and stuff that cosplayers have with swords or whatever, and lights attached to them. I've seen some really cool kind of light, long exposure, right? Shall I say, images with cosplay with some of their light up props. Very, very cool. Yeah. I think there's a few people in here that do it. I know Tony is usually in here. He's in Australia. He normally does a bunch. He usually joins later on because it's like 6 a.m. for him or something. Yeah. Damn, got to see if I could do that smoke vest DIY project. I mean, yeah. Do you have one of these smoke ninja things or one of the smoke things? Because I mean, it's just cabling, right? And they just popped it in there. I presume that cabling is pretty standard. It looks like the tubing. Sorry, it looks like the tubes that I had with my Technics kit when I was a kid for valves and that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, technically, would be relatively straightforward. As long as you wonder what the adapter is at the top of the Smoke Ninja. What they've got that goes into it there. Well, they've got one that goes around the head as well. Interesting. Okay. Nice. Okay. Yep. Hey Paul, how you doing, mate? That is probably on AliExpress. Just be looking for, but you know it, Jamie. You 100% know it. Yeah. He's probably already made it. Yeah. So this came up in recent streams. I don't have anything new to show here, but I just put this here to remind me to ask you guys about Tamron. So a couple of people mentioned that Tamron is actually pretty good now. Now, years ago, when I was shooting, same with Sigma and Tamron were kind of a meme. Lenses. They were just kind of not great. They were like the third-party lenses that kind of nobody ever used. Not ideal. And then I've heard a couple of people talking about Tamron recently and saying that they're actually not too bad. And Sigma is excellent now. Like some of the Sigma art lenses are outstanding, arguably better than some of the first-party lenses, depending on the sort of look that you want. But my point being, on some of those lenses, is like, would you rather use the Sigma art lens or would you rather use the first-party one? I would probably use the Sigma one, mainly because it's got a little bit more character to it. So they've been going gangbusters, and Tamron, I feel, has kind of been toiling away in the background doing a similar thing, but I have not used a Tamron lens in, like, actually, I don't know, it could be our college days, right? Does anybody use Tamron here? Like, they go, and, okay, do you use Tamron, and do you have any first-party lenses as well? And can you go, do you know what, it's pretty, it's pretty good now? Or it's like, no, you definitely notice it. Or it's like, yeah, the autofocus is slow. Or is there anything like that you guys using Tamron have kind of noticed? So Sterling says, I had an early Sigma 50mm. It was crap. Yeah, the art lens is definitely a different stuff. Agreed, Sterling. Exactly my thoughts. Exactly my thoughts. We had Sigma lenses back in the day, and they were ropey for sure. Like you say, a very different story now. Sigma art has zero character. They are sharp in the corner. Okay. That's not what I found when I was using. This was years ago, though, Vlad. To be fair, this is years ago. Yeah. Which one have you got, Vlad? Yeah. So Sterling says, I have the Tamron 85 1.8. Really use it. It's slow focusing. So the autofocus is slow. Yeah, that was one of the other things that I found with some third-party lenses. The focusing can be sluggish. Yeah, but 85 1.8 though. I mean, that's decent. That's decent for sure. I mean, you got to be. That's a lot of money on first party lenses. You spend a lot of money. Yeah. Yeah. So Terry says Tamron's slower than first party focus. Yeah. So similar to what Sterling was saying, but sharp and decent, but soulless. Okay. So you've got the 35 to 150. That is a chunky range, Terry. So f2 2.8. Oh, okay. So even 2.8 at 150. Okay. Interesting. Do you know how much you paid for that, Terry? Is that like crazy money? Because, I mean, that would be very expensive first party, right? So Vlad says I got 24 1.4 can emulate film with it, no matter how hard it So, okay, yeah, no, I definitely haven't tried the any super wide ones like that, and it's sharp in the corners at 24. Now, look, that's not what I'm after, but that is impressive. Like to be razor sharp in the corners at 24mm and f1.4. Damn. Yeah. Paul says we use Tamrons and they work great. The customer has no idea. Exactly. Yeah. Right. That's that. Yeah. When you're on the front line like that, the customer doesn't give a shit. Yeah. Especially when you're working in a studio where somebody else might be picking up your camera, right? You know, do you really want to put an expensive lens when somebody's going to be jumping in to shoot that camera? You know, we've certainly had that in the past in the studio, right? Where you'll have what we had. I think we had like 4 or 5 shooters at one point. A couple of studios. So you like, you know, do you really want to be putting very expensive glass on the lens? We did, and we were actually very fortunate. But yeah. I think if you were in a busy studio, yeah. Like you're saying, people on the front line aren't going to know. Yeah. We use Tamrons are great. The customer has no idea. We do plan to upgrade our 24 to 70 to the Sigma one later this year. That's excellent, Paul. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, I think that's the 2.8, right? 24 to 70 2.8. I mean, that was very comparable at the time to the OG Canon one. Like that Canon one, 24 to 70 2.8, absolute workhorse back in the day, back when we were using the 5D Mark II. Phenomenal. And I think the Sigma one stands up to that very, very well. Yeah. Paul says the 35 to 150 had issues in the early days. It used to have really odd depth of field issues. What? Really? Like what? Like it wouldn't know what to focus on, or you would get weird artifacts and bokeh shapes in the like blurry elements, like the out of focus elements would look weird. I haven't heard of that. Yeah. Paul says I used one at a wedding and it was awful. Okay, right. Was that an old one? Yeah. Terry says yeah, 1100, but I mean for that sort of lens though. Yeah. Grey market new is 1700. Okay. For a little wider than that in the studio. Yeah, I suppose if you're using it outside, what did you say you had? 35. You prefer wider than that? Okay. Yeah. I think the widest I really ever went was 28, to be fair, but yeah, like outside like that prime wise. Also lens extends, which I hate it. Oh, you don't talking about like when you zoom like that and it comes out, or you talking about the actual push pull? Like it's not one of the old push pull ones and then refocus. It is literally a zoom, right? Lives on the camera versatility. I mean, that's such a huge range, and like pretty much f2.8 throughout. Like it's wild. Yeah. For example, the bride was in focus, but her bridesmaids on the same plane of her were out of focus, left and right. Interesting. So it was really only sharp in the middle. Then that is not cool. Yeah, that is not cool for a wedding. I mean, that is wild. 3 people in line. That's crazy. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So look, we're getting kind of mixed feedback on these ones here. Some people saying pretty good, some people saying rough. Like the zoom, the autofocus speed was something that I was mindful of, and a couple of you guys have kind of backed that up and going, yeah, it is kind of noticeably slower when you compare it to first party. But like some of these lenses are so much cheaper than their first party counterparts. I think if you were kind of starting out, I think you could do far worse than kind of get your foot in the door with some of these, you know. Especially if you're starting out, and I'm seeing people starting out and getting like APS-C size cameras, which I never recommend. You know, it's one of those things where I think even if you've got to save up a little bit longer, like another 6 months, I still think you're better off saving up for full frame personally, and then kind of investing into the lenses. Then it's not to say that you can't use some of the APS-C lenses on full frame, but I just think you'll love the depth of field that you get from full frame. It's worth the wait and worth the little bit of extra investment. Yeah. So Paul's going on to talk about his dodgy focus one in terms of depth of field. We think it was dropped, it was hide. Yeah, I mean, could do. Yeah, so if you imagine the plane being like, you know, you got your focal plane being flat, but if it was dropped and it was slightly shifted, you could definitely see how that would make somebody either out of focus on one side and out of focus on the other side. Yeah, absolutely. I could see that. Yeah. But all the other cameras I would use. Okay. Terry says zoom extends just wildly long. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's impressive that it's able to maintain that 2.8 if it's got this huge, length on it. It's wild. Yeah, you prefer wider for a little more distortion. Nice Nikon, which they took an extra couple of years to release over Sony. Yes, Nikon has a kind of unique distance. Vlad will probably know more about this than me. I've just kind of encountered the issues before where I'm trying to adapt lenses to Nikon, and yeah, they have this unique distance from lens to chip. So yeah, it does normally take Nikon lenses a little bit longer to come out, which is annoying. Yeah. There are a few APS-C lenses that actually make it feel full frame, like the Sigma Art 50-100 1.8. Really? Okay, interesting. Yeah, the flange distance. Thank you. Yeah. The Nikon F flange distance is too big. Exactly right. Yeah. So when I was trying to put some of the old like Helios lenses and stuff on it, you kind of really needed another lens in there to make it work, as opposed to other cameras. You could just throw pretty much most vintage lenses on it, and you could get the distance to work. So Nikon has been a bit of a pain for that. So there are a few APS-C lenses that actually make it feel like full frame. Okay. I will say, I did a test years ago, and I was testing. This was like back when Sony first started bringing out cameras, and kind of Fuji was still in the running as being like very enthusiastic amateurs were using the Fuji, and that was APS-C. And I was like, I gotta test it for myself. And I gotta say, I will. When I was using it, I forget which one it was, but it was, you know, one of the lenses that you could take off and on. I will say I was extremely impressed with the depth of field that you got with APS-C, because I was not expecting it. I was thinking, there's just no way. Like, the chip is literally smaller. The glass is making a smaller circle. Yada yada yada. But yeah, I got to admit, I was very impressed with the Fuji APS-C years ago. Honestly, just get a 10-year-old mirrorless full frame for Helios, and you'll get better shots than old Nikon DSLR. Interesting. Okay, interesting. God, is that where we're at now, Vlad? Is really mirrorless full frame been out 10 years now? Has it? Is it really? Is that where we're at with it? Like, what was kind of the early full frame mirrorless then? I mean, it certainly wasn't Nikon. Who was kind of first with it? Was it Sony who kind of dumped that? You know, even more interesting. That's wild, man. That's crazy. When I was reading you write that, I was like, no way. Is it really? Yeah, that's nuts. What did I see? I saw a YouTube video the other day from like 8 years ago or 7 years ago, and there was a guy in it using a Nikon D850, and I'm like, There's no way. There's no way. Like, there's no way my camera's that old. Sony A7 released in October 2013. There you go. Thank you, Vlad. Interesting. Okay. And that was the first, was it? That was the first full frame. Wow. 2013. Yeah, does it give you a price there, Vlad? Kind of interested to see what that is. Yeah. Vlad, you just made me feel better. I shoot with Canon 50D. Okay. Let's have a drink here a minute. Before we move on, was there any other news that some people saw about any products, any lights that came out, any specifically? Yeah, let's have a look. Your D850 was released in August 24, 2017. Wow, it's coming up, man. It's coming. It is. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so, yeah, that's 8 years ago now. So, I mean, it's coming up. I'll get a couple more years out of it, yeah. A couple more years out of that. You know, I put off the GFX for a few more years. The Nikon D750 was released in September 2014. Okay, and that was full frame, was it? No, yeah, that was. I forget what the D750 was completely. I didn't even know what that field of cameras is doing. So the A7 is older than both our Nikons. Okay, yeah, that is interesting. I'm gonna have to go back and look at that and see what that first one came out as, because I had no idea it was that old. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Yeah. All right, so yeah, unless there's any news, we can have a look at. Let's have a look at Jamie's book here. Okay. So Jamie has just finally got his book out. So those of you who've been following the stream for a while, you know that Jamie's been a regular here in the stream, and he's been toiling away on this book for, he says, 2 years now. So yeah, I've got it here. I'm gonna see if I can hook all this up. See if I can get it going. A second. Lizzie says, I bought my camera when I was pregnant with my youngest son 16 years ago. Okay. Well, which one was that? What camera did you get, Lizzie? So 787 can be found for something like... No, Vlad, really? I might get one. I'm going to have to see. Okay. Let me get this set up. Let's have a look. And let's turn that light on, get some light on the book. Ah, it's working. Yes. I knew it. Never doubted it. Okay. So let me just pop this link in here. You guys can take a look. But we'll just have a quick look at some of the shots in here. You still here, Jamie? Or are you just like dipped? On my keyboard gone sleep. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Oh, the Canon 50D. Okay, yeah. Lizzie, I was working for Walmart Studios at the time. We had a Canon 40D. Oh, you're working for Walmart Studios? I remember those jobs, Lizzie. Yeah, that's right. God, we had them here. So we've got like a pharmacy here called Boots, and is like a national, kind of similar to Walmart, really. Yeah, and you used to have there used to be those photographers in there. I remember that now. Yeah. That was hard work, Lizzie. Yeah, that was hard work. Yeah. What sort of how many sort of shoots were you guys doing a week? Was it loads, or were you in like one of the quieter stores? Yeah. Okay, let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this book then. So, like I said, we got. Let me bring this microphone across. So we got 236 images in here. Let's have a look. So obviously I'm not going to go through all these, but I just want to have a quick look, see what Jamie's been working on. Just get all my sweaty hands on these beautiful pages. So there's everything in here from kind of these backgrounds that he's put in afterwards, from tubes to regular gels, LEDs, I presume, especially over 2 years, and there's even a couple of black and whites in there, but I've torn those pages out. So, but everything has been really well polished, Jamie. I've got to say, like, all these images have absolutely been, you know, impeccably retouched. And you guys got to remember, like, it's difficult to retouch skin, but like latex and that sort of stuff, which picks up every single little thing, fingerprint, dust, hair, just anything possible. Like, I know how much work this must have been for these. You know. One thing I will say that it's pretty apparent as well is that there's definitely this kind of uniform style across them, like in terms of the retouching as well, Jamie, which I think is really apparent. Like, it's not like, oh, this image I retouched 10 years ago and this one I retouched last week, and there's this huge disparity. You know, it definitely seems like there's a big continuity, right, for sure. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, look, you can see the retouching here on some of the highlights and stuff. Would have been a nightmare. Yeah. But yeah, very colourful book. Like I said, over 236 images, something like that. So a huge amount. Of course, it does mean that Godox won't be sharing this stream now. Jamie, hope you're happy. Hey, look, even the tubes are in there. Nice. Yeah, very clean. How many models is there in here, Jamie? Do you know any, like, rough idea? There's got to be at least 20-30 models in here. And whilst you're at your keyboard, what is like one of your favorite shoots in here that you're most pleased with? Is there one that kind of stands out to you? And roughly where in the book is it? I mean, yeah, so many people involved in this as well. You know, with the different, you know, the teams. He's got all credited here as well. Nice. Is there any order to these as well, Jamie? Is it like kind of chronological, like the ones at the start are kind of the older ones, or like how did you work out what was going to go where? Is there a kind of a vibe that you were going for from front to back? I had to mask out some of the nipples in here. But yeah, very impressive, Jamie, and thank you for sending it over, and congrats for finally getting it done. Right, it's finally done. Finally behind you. Yeah. Who's the same as the American chain Wolverines, I believe. Okay, Paul. Okay, yeah. That's where I first began my photography career. It depended on the season. Christmas is crazy. Yeah, true. Yeah. Imagine Christmas being wild. I got the door open, so you have to suffer through the hound barking. Yeah. I never thought of putting the book together, and my husband is a writer, so now I think we're doing. Yeah, do it. Yeah. Don't speak to Jamie about it. You see the dog run through on the camera. Yeah, don't speak to Jamie about it though, because he'll tell you it's awful. Okay, I heard you. But yeah, it is a lot of work. Yeah. What program did you use to make it, Jamie? Adobe InDesign or something? Yeah. Somewhere from 5 years ago. Tell Godox I'm sorry. Yeah. They're great, Lizzie, right? Yeah, really good. Yeah. I have no idea how many models. Probably the one with Jesse Jensen, which is further to the back. Jesse Jensen, okay. Older at the beginning, right? I did kind of think that was. Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to say, but it felt like some of the ones at the beginning, maybe slightly simpler lighting, right? You know, not like still clean, but you know, and then towards the end, it definitely got more complex for sure. Yeah. You never get to hear me talk about it ever again. Yeah, true. Yeah. Let's have a look, see if I can find that. Oh, Jess Wilcox. I haven't shot with her in forever. That's crazy. How old is that shot of Jess Wilcox, Jamie? Is that recent? Oh, these ones have yeah. This is Jessie Jensen. Yeah, this is the newer ones from you. Yeah, true. Okay, yeah, you did a bunch with her. Yeah, you did a bunch with her. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because you did a whole variety of different colored light ones. Turned out really well. Yeah, nice. Yeah. Like, some of these are wild, man. Yeah, some of these are crazy. Awesome. Good stuff. Yeah. So look, guys. Again, if you wanna check out the book, I think 40 quid for 236 shots. I mean, that's nothing. What is that, like 15 pence an image or something? I think I worked it out a minute ago. There you go. Yeah. So £35. Yeah. 230, 14 pence an image. Come on. I mean, that's you got to look at that price, Jamie. You don't have a word. Yeah. One with Jess is from last year. Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay. Awesome work, mate. Awesome work. Well done. Thank you for sending that over. It's an absolute pleasure to go through, and it's it's awesome to kind of see this in real life, right? We've been kind of talking about it for years. I know you've been sharing a lot of these images over the years in the share a shoot, getting bits of feedback and that sort of stuff, and it's all paid off, man. It's all paid off. Yeah, good stuff. Okay. You're very kind, Jamie. Yeah, very kind. Okay, so let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this Godox then. I forgot you guys can't see my screen, so just have a quick look at what this can do. A second. Yeah, just bring this over. So we're just going to take a look at the Godox V100 speedlight here, and look, let me just give you a little bit of backstory on this. In that, they sent this to me, and I'll be honest, up front, I was not looking forward to this. Right, I literally haven't used a speedlight since my art college days, right, which was over 20 years ago. And as soon as I left art college, I bought 4 500-watt Bowens heads. Boom, just done. Right, they're still over there. And I never ever went back to a speedlight ever again. Right? So when they sent me this, it was kind of under the proviso of they sent me some other bits as well, which I was really excited to kind of play with. The the little Coke can lights, the MS60s, whatever they are, and I was like, oh cool, yeah, got to play with that. And they were like, yeah, we're going to send you this as well. Can you also take a look at this? And I was like, oh man, what am I going to do with a speedlight? I haven't used a speedlight in forever. And then I was tidying up, found it on the kitchen table the other day, and I was like, shit, I got to do something with this. And I got to say, I had a ton of fun with this thing. This thing is very, very powerful in what it can do. And chatting to my wife and going, look, should we test it out, have a bit of fun with it? And it was like, I'll say one thing that kind of I took away from this was it was fun, right? Very, very fun to use. And part of that is just down to how easy it is to use, right? I just popped it on the camera, switched on TTL, which as a studio shooter I never use TTL. Those of you who don't know, it stands for through the lens, which means that it works out the exposure for you. And we just had some fun with it, right? Let's have a look at some of the shots we got. So here, some of the shots we were playing with. So this is just boom, basic, just outside. Just got the flash on her here, and you can see it's darker down here. So the flash is kind of pulling her, and then we were just kind of playing with this motion and movement. And what are we at here? So we're at 1/13 of a second here. This is during the day. So you can kind of see that like there's bright sunlight back here, so you can't see because my camera's in the way, but the camera setting to this is ISO essentially 25, f11 at 13th of a second. So f11, ISO 25. So I'm really trying to block out as much of this daylight as possible, and then using this 13th of a second motion. And what I've done here is I've zoomed in the flash to just get a pool of light on her there, and then just switched TTL on, and that's it. That's literally it. Tons of fun to play with and just start to get some creative shots that were very easy, and like it's just not, this is it, one flash, one light on the camera, and yeah, it's just, like, it kind of doesn't get any easier than this, right? That's the setup there. It's just outside. This, if I'd waited an extra half an hour for the sun to go down a little bit more, I wouldn't have even needed this. This is just like kind of a scrim with black velvet on it, and then I've just got a fan to try and get some movement in the hair here, because there's just no wind at all. So just trying to get some movement going. It just doesn't get any easier than that, right? It's like, okay, that's cool. Then we tried something else. So I kind of set up just a backdrop outside as well. Let's have a look. So yeah, so here you go. So I just set up a backdrop outside as well, and then what I've got up here is, so it's just the speed light in this S-Fit bracket, right? This is just an old like pop-up beauty dish that I got in Hong Kong like 10 years ago or something for like 35 quid, and I could have used a studio beauty dish here, but I was like, I'm trying to keep it fairly realistic to being outside and on the go, and you're not going to be taking out just this massive metal 22-inch beauty dish. So I was like, okay, I just grab this, it just pops up, like it packs down real small, popped it on there, and yeah, pretty simple. And then just took some shots again, TTL, right, one light TTL, absolutely crazy. Yeah, beautiful results. So off camera flash here. Now I'm doing the off camera flash here with the trigger, like the X3 trigger, which we'll just have a look at in a second. Okay, that's what's firing that. But yeah, like super simple. Now, one thing that's kind of interesting here is that TTL is, I was kind of under the impression that it was talking to the camera more than it's actually doing. So what I'm using here is a very like a reimagined vintage lens. So what I mean by that is this is a very old Petzval lens design, so like rack and pinion focusing, no actual aperture in it. It comes with metal discs with a hole in it that you drop in for the aperture, and the TTL was working flawlessly, right? So like the TTL is not, it has no idea what my aperture is, right? It doesn't know where I am. I guess it doesn't need to know the type of lens I'm using or anything like that, but it doesn't know the aperture. So it really is very clever at reading the scene, not based on the settings that you're feeding it. So what TTL does is it fires a flash and first, right, and then it reads that flash, and then it fires a second flash adjusted based on the first flash, right? And I know that it's doing that because it has no idea what the aperture is on these shots. So I mean, I didn't even know what the aperture is on this. I mean, I think it's 2.8. There's like a little disc that I drop in the lens. And this thing, TTL worked on this flawlessly every single shot. So that flash is off camera, like as you can see, like it's it's over there, right? And it's working flawlessly every single time, given the fact that we're outside in daylight, and it doesn't know what the aperture on my lens is and everything like that. So it worked absolutely flawlessly. Very impressed. And the reason I say that is because I've certainly seen TTL from certain flashes that have kind of struggled, right? TTL wise, been a bit inconsistent, but there wasn't a single shot that I took here with TTL that wasn't correctly exposed. Nuts. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, absolutely crazy. So really impressed, really impressed. And you think, well, the flash is fixed. Yeah, it's true. But I was also kind of bringing it inside, and I'm moving backwards and forwards with the flash as well, right? So inside, so now it's back on the camera. I mean, I'm still using the trigger, but it is back on the camera, and I can move further away and that sort of stuff, and it balances it out perfectly every single time, right? Photography's never been easier than this, man. Like TTL, flash like this, you've got mirrorless cameras that are giving you a live view of the scene in front of you. You know, absolutely wild how just quick and easy it is to get great shots with this tech now. It's nuts. Yeah. Let's check out my questions in here. All of my early work was with knockoff speedlights. Yeah, same, Jimmy. Yeah, we used like a knockoff. It wasn't even mine. Like my entire degree was done with my mate's 40 quid speedlight. I think it didn't even didn't even have any features on it at all. It was either on full power or off, pretty much. Like you could zoom it, and we would stack Rizzlers on the front to kind of diffuse it a little bit, but that was it. Yeah. Okay, so kind of my base level thoughts on it. Let's have a look at what this. Does anybody here shoot with speedlights? Has anybody got a speedlight at the moment? Or has anybody used speedlights in the past and they're like, I'm just not. There's just no point in me using them again. I know there's people like I think Sterling uses them. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Sterling. Yeah, it's straight in their way. I think Sterling uses them. He does events and that sort of stuff. He uses them all the time. Which one have you got, Sterling? Yeah, which one are you using? Okay, so let's have a look at this. What we got in here? One thing on this, I've got the Nikon one here. There is a couple of different ones. It's just worth noting that there is a different one in the US. So it's like a V100U, I think, that has a red ring around the top. I'll just really briefly speak about that in case it's relevant to anybody. So here, right? So the North American one, there's many of them out there with a red ring around it, and to my knowledge, this is due to patent issues, right? And I think there is some argument saying that there is infringement on Profoto circular flashlight attachments, because the regular one that I've got here and the normal one that you can see, yeah, like here, right? Like the black one, that ring is magnetic, so you can put like modifiers and stuff on there, and there are some out there that don't have that magnetic ring. Now, I'm not sure whether this is right or wrong, but there are certainly distributors who are just changing it, because you can buy these black rings to replace it, and a lot of the distributors will either include that black ring in the box, or you can buy it from like eBay for like $6 or something. So it's very easy to kind of replace if you wanted to, but there are obviously plenty of places out there that don't have the red ring around it. Look, all this is a mess. There's arguments that says that Profoto infringed on MagMod because their whole business model was magnetic modifiers that you attach to speedlight. That's literally their entire business model, right? So there's kind of everybody kind of fighting amongst themselves. Profoto saying, well, ours is circular, yours isn't, and that sort of stuff. So yeah, look, just be mindful of it. Yeah. Other than that, exactly the same. It's just that ring. Yeah. Let's have a look what people are saying here. So Sterling says he's got the V1S. So what is the V1S? Is that Godox as well, Sterling? Yeah. So Leo here says he's got the V860 all the time. Oh my god, everybody's using these these letters and numbers are. Yeah, actually, I know nothing about any speed lights. Yeah, so Sterling says he's got 860s as well. Paul says I have one as my backup light in the studio. It's a Godox something. Well, yeah, I mean, Paul, I'm with you, mate. So Steve says I've got the V100. Use it for fire performance on long exposure. Nice. Okay, perfect. So exactly the same thing as I was doing there. So Sterling says I have 7 of them. I have 3 V1s that I use regularly. Okay. Okay. Nice. Okay, I got to look it up now. I got to look it up. So what do we say we had there? You guys said you had Speedlight V1. Okay, I know you guys can't see my screen. So very similar then. So very similar. This is like an early version then. Sterling, right? Yeah. What else do people have? Leo had V860. Okay, yeah, so one of the early ones there with the rectangular flash. Yeah. What else do we have in there? V1s, V860s. Oh, I think Sterling's talking about the same thing. 860s as well. Okay, so that's cool. Yeah. Then he says I used to use them, but switched to the Neo 3s. Gotcha. Yeah. However, I've started to use them more. I'm going to buy this one. Danny, mate, honestly, it's really good. Yeah, it is. I really can't fault it. Yeah. Lizzie says you use one sometimes. When you say sometimes, Lizzie, why? Like, what is it that you go? Ooh, I need to use a speed light now. Is it you turn up to like a wedding or a church or something, and it's like, whoa, it is way too dark in here. I do not want to be shooting at 64,000 ISO. Like now's time to put on a speed light. Is it something that you have in your bag, or is there a different like what kind of? I was just kind of curious as to what triggers people to kind of use them. Yeah. I meant the V1. Yeah, no worries, Dylan. Yeah. Steve says the V1 was followed by the V1 Pro, which is the clip-on front flash. Okay, V100 is a bit more power. Okay. So Paul's is the V852. Okay, so it's going to be similar to this, right? Yeah, so it's going to be okay. Yeah. So these are kind of the old school ones. Yeah. Mine is cheap when I found on Amazon. I use it mostly for special effects, light painting. Okay, fair enough. So you're just kind of using it to pop in a little bit of light when you're doing light painting. So you just need something to kind of trigger, and that's it. You don't need anything fancy. That makes sense. Yeah. But I have used it outdoor daylight sessions too. Nice. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. All right. Let's have a look at this then. Okay. So let's pop this. So obviously got the speed light itself. We got the little stand. I don't know what you'd use that for. This thing was kind of interesting. This fill flash, right? And I did a test it earlier on, which I'll show you the results in a second. So that actually clips onto the very front of the speed light. I'll chat about that in a second. And then you got your cables and that sort of stuff, right? So in here, I mean, it has got a pouch in here as well for that if you want it on the side of the thing. Okay. So we turn that on. Boom. And you pretty much like that's it. Like rough. Kind of crazy. You've got your button here. So you've got sender, receiver. So I think this is more modernized vernacular rather than master and slave, which is what we used to from back in the day, but same thing, right? Then you got your menu, you got your wireless, usual stuff, right? And see, normally pressing this button takes you back to the menu, but it just goes backwards and forwards from this. Okay, cool. Okay, so literally just pop that on there, and then you can go in here. It's all touchscreen, obviously, as you can see me doing it there. So you can just have it set to auto. The shots that you saw me doing outside were all done at full zoom, because I kind of wanted that pool of shadow, kind of around there, because that's where the kind of the movement was. Yeah. So if we kind of go back a second here. right? So I'm just using that 105 mil, that's super zoomed in. So you see the flash is really only hitting here, and you see the dress down here is not getting any of that flash. So that's how we're able to get the movement in the ambient light, which is the daylight, right? So that's kind of why I was using. So I fixed the zoom to 105. I didn't let it spread or anything like that, and that gave a really cool effect when it came to kind of darkening down the background, which was nice. Yeah. So the other thing that I was using was this, right, which was the Godox X3 trigger. Is that iPhone lens steaming up in here? You see that? Is that fogging up? It's hilarious. So in here you just got that, right? You got your cable and that sort of stuff in your instructions, and then you just got your trigger in there. So this thing is really what made everything super easy on the day, right? You can just turn that on. Right, so there's a huge touchscreen on the top there, and again, you turn it on and you're ready to go. You got your buttons on the side here, so you can kind of flash it. I don't know whether you can see the flash on the stream because of the frame rate, but yeah, so it's just syncing there as well. And you got off and on. Then you got this button on the side here pushes in as well, so you can then adjust this. Push in again, and the button is actually big enough that I was kind of using it with one hand. Doesn't seem like a big thing, but it was as how I was ended up using it. So, and you got the menus and stuff in there as well. So one thing that's cool about this is that it has a modeling bulb. I mean, should be able to turn it on here if it's connected. I can definitely turn it on by this one. I know that. Let's have a look. Modeling bulb. Okay. I definitely had it on, so I don't know why it's not on there now. But yeah. And it's definitely talking to it. But the other thing that was cool about this as well was that, let's have a look. Where was it? Oh, in the menu, that's right, so in the settings. So some of you may not have experienced this in the past, but sometimes when the flash is too close to the trigger, it won't fire. This used to actually happen a lot with the Bowens lights, where if I was using like a ring flash back in the day, and the camera would actually be through the ring flash, and you have the strobe next to it, but the trigger was also next. Like, it just wouldn't work, so you'd have to hardwire it. So this is kind of a cool thing that I noticed about this. You just got the channels here. Let's go back to the menu. Setting. Trigger distance. And it's got two settings there. You got 0 to 30, and you've also got 1 to 100, right? Like, it's just such a simple thing. I just wish all triggers had this. So now, if you set it to 0 to 30, which is that's Christ, for 99% of the work that we do, that's going to be fine, right? So you set it to that, and then it can be right next to it, as you're seeing here, right? And it works. And if you can see hopefully one of these will pop up on the stream. But yeah, so other triggers that I've used haven't done that, and it's really annoying for certain shots. Like I said, ring flash and that sort of stuff. Or I've had lights kind of behind me, right, like a big umbrella behind me, and I've kind of come back and I'm in the kind of almost in the umbrella, and the camera is kind of next to the light, and it won't fire the umbrella as well. So yeah, something like that. Simple thing was just like, man, I wish all of them had that. Yeah. Okay, so let's have a look. What we got? Kind of bummed I can't get that modeling lamp to work for some reason, because it was working earlier on. So obviously I haven't got something doing something. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, oh, like the battery in there is like a lithium battery that just pops in at the side there, super quick to charge, and was just lasts forever. In fact, I had it kind of on standby for for days. It's absolutely fine. So I'm kind of torn on this, right? Because the old speed lights were all like AA batteries and that sort of stuff, and it was convenient, right? Because you could be anywhere. Like you could be at a wedding or a shoot or wherever you were, and you could just if you had a packet of AA's, you didn't need. Oh, I haven't charged my battery, right? If you just had your packet of AA's, you were good to go. Or you could just petrol station or whatever, the supermarket, and grab some more. So super convenient in that point of view. The downside of that is that they are kind of a bit fiddly. They don't last anywhere near as long. You got to fish them out of the packet, put them in, all that sort of stuff, and then you're just carrying around tons and tons of batteries. Whereas these ones, this lithium thing, not only does it last for ages, and sure, obviously if I was going to be using it in earnest, I'd probably just get 2 or 3 of these. You just pop them in instantly and off you go. So very, very quick and easy in terms of a battery thing. So pros and cons, right? You would need to buy extras of those batteries if you were going to be taking this seriously. Long day and that sort of stuff. But I mean, I've haven't charged that since, and it just keeps going and going and going. So I have no qualms that would last for a very long time. So this thing here on the front, right? And if anybody's got any questions about this, then let me know. But yeah, so this little thing pops on the front here. It's just kind of a fill light, right? So I was testing this, and there's a couple of caveats to making this fill light work. So it'll only work when the flash is kind of orientated like this, right? So you're bouncing it off the ceiling, right? So you're shooting, you're bouncing this off the ceiling, and you put this on, and then this will fire as well, right? So it's kind of it will really only trigger when it knows that this is pointed up towards the ceiling, okay? And then this will come on. It's a nice idea. Let's take a look at the shots a second. Let's have a look. Let's see what we got here. Questions wise, let's have a look. So Paul says the stand gives you a tripod tread should you ever need one. Oh, I see what you're saying, Paul. Yeah, clever. Rather than having to get another bracket. Yeah, good shout. So what Paul is saying here is that at the bottom of this stand, so he's talking about the stand, he's saying at the bottom of that, you got the thread. So you put the... Obviously, I mean, I've got a bunch of brackets and that sort of stuff that I would kind of ordinarily use. What he's saying is you put the speed light on the bracket, and then you can just whack that onto the bottom of the tripod. So yeah, good shout, Paul. Yeah, well done, mate. Well done. Yeah, I never even looked at the bottom of that. Yeah. I will pop one I did in daylight with my cheap speed light in the reply on my photo. Oh yeah, thanks, Liz. Yeah, have a look at that. Yeah, for the data, you can see how it worked too. Yeah, nice. Yeah, thank you. Leo says the older Godox triggers have it as well, but sometimes completely hidden in the manual. Yeah, true, right? I mean, I didn't know. Like, I've never seen anybody talk about it, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Yeah. It's such a like that. Presumably, they was talking about the distance thing. Yeah, like, there should have been something that was in triggers from a very long time ago. I don't know the tech behind it. Obviously, a reason why it doesn't work on most of them. But yeah, it very useful feature for sure. Celia says you'd power up the trigger while holding the test button and get to the close mode. What the? The secret, like, yeah, the secret menus in some of these products is hilarious, man. Yeah. One of the perks of this unit is that some of the newer ones is that you have an external port for hooking up to external battery pack. Yeah, so I noticed that. I haven't actually tried it. So I think what Sterling talking about there is that on the side of the flash, you have like another USB-C port on the side. You can see it there, right? So I presume what you're saying there, Sterling, is not only does it have a sync port, but it has the USB. So you could it technically be powering this from a pack, right? If you had like a pack on it on a stand or something like that, you can actually plug it, which is, I said, definitely a nice feature rather than having to swap it in and out if it's up really high or something. Yeah. I still have some from the old 8360s. I still have, just had to buy a different connector cable. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, thread, yeah. 8200 version has the same connector. Okay. With the external pack connected, it speeds the recycling time a bit. Plus, you could do 1,000 flashes, of course. Okay. So, I mean, Christ, the recycle seems very, very quick to me. But I guess, I suppose if you were doing like dancing or something like that, and you, sure, okay, yeah, I could see that. There's a connection on the bottom front for external battery pack. Down there, yeah, okay, yeah. Let's switch it back to the camera. Yeah, good shout, guys, good shout. So this is the one that I was kind of talking about here. We've got this, you've got the sync there, and then you've got the USB-C there, right? So you could kind of presumably plug it in, like Sterling was saying there, and then what Steve is saying is that at the bottom here at the front, you got that in there, which is cool. Yeah. So I need to read the manual again as to why that modelling bulb won't come on. It's kind of annoying, stupid of me. Obviously it's worked every time apart from now. It's bugging me though. This maybe it's something that I put on in there. I don't think so. Modelling, continuous, interact continuous, yeah. But the modelling lamp for focusing, so good. Yeah. So good. Like, I could genuinely see myself just putting this on the camera to focus, right? Because I think you can actually set it to turn off the modeling bulb when you press the trigger as well. So when you take a picture, it will turn off the modeling bulb so that it's not interrupting or illuminating the shot in any way, which is cool. Yeah. Yeah. There's a bunch of other things in here as well in terms of just the settings of distances and features and that sort of stuff. But yeah. Okay. Okay, what else have we got on there? Oh, thank you, Sterling. Okay, so what Sterling's saying here is that the side here is only for firmware upgrades. Okay, good shout, Sterling. Thank you. Yeah, I thought you could power it from that, but then he's saying that this is this is how you power it here. Okay, yeah, good shout, man. Good shout. Well done. Well, Steve was saying that as well. Yeah, thank you. Thanks, guys. Yeah. If you plug a cable in, it says upgrade. Gotcha. Yeah. Pull down the manual. So there's different menus here. So Steve is right. They're different. So you have menu to the left there. All right. And you got not that. You got that. Autofocus on there. Okay, so we've got modeling. There we go. Okay, there we go. Well done, Steve, mate. Well done. Okay, so there's a menu at the top there, so you can access more. So I've actually just been using this. I was kind of surprised that this didn't work. Okay, so now that's turning it off and on. Or it was. Weird. It's also got a thing here for like the brightness of the modeling bulb as well, which was cool. So yeah, so you can turn it off with this. I have turned it on with this before, but I don't know why it's not working now. It's not doing it. You can turn it off with this, but not on. Weird. Okay. I have done in the past though. Okay, so there's that. So modeling bulbs super useful for focusing, right? And let me just come over here, look at some more shots a second. Because these ones here, this is what I was doing. I was playing around with that modeling bulb that we've just or the focusing light, whatever you want to call it, the modeling bulb on there. I was kind of playing around with this kind of 90s nostalgic vibe shot. So purposely leaving it on. And there is, like I said, there is a setting in there where you have to turn it on and have it left on, because otherwise when you press the trigger it will turn itself off to stop this from happening. But you can overwrite that, which is cool. So where are we at here? You guys can't see it, but I'm at ISO 25 again, 85mm f8 at half a second. So half a second, modeling bulb on, and this is on the camera, and then I'm kind of, you know, moving it around quite quickly, and then the flash is going off, TTL again, and then it's doing it. Okay, and then it's getting this kind of effect. I'm sure you guys have all seen it before. Now, one thing of interest here is that the eagle-eyed among you may have noticed the nostalgic color for sure, but also the fact that it's not daylight Kelvin, right? So that modeling bulb is what, 3000, 2700 or something Kelvin. So it's not the same color as the flash, which, like, first impressions, that seems kind of weird, right? Why would you do that? Now, when I looked into this, so don't take this as gospel, this is just kind of what I read online, so who knows, right? But this is what I read online. They were saying that originally this was supposed to come with both two LEDs, right? Both a warm and a cool one, right? And again, supposedly they ran into patent issues specifically with the cool LED modeling bulb. I'll take a wild guess as to who had an issue with it, but that was supposedly what I heard. So they removed the blue one and just kept the warmer orange one that we see here. And the reason I looked into it, because I was like, why on earth would you have a flash that fires at 5600 and then have a modeling bulb, which is an LED that you could have at any color you wanted? Why have that at, you know, set to tungsten, which is like 3000 or something? So I was like, why on earth would you do that? And so looking into it, there does seem to be a reason for it. Now look, I'm like, it's fine, it doesn't bother me. I actually kind of like it. I think it's actually pretty cool. You get this very vintage like effect and that sort of stuff. I think it's cool. Yeah, it's just the, you know, the stuff that we used to shoot back when I was learning. So I'm totally fine with it. But it's worth pointing out for you guys that the modeling bulb is quite warm. You know. Yeah. Cool. Let's just briefly look at the fill flash, right? So I spoke about a second about the fill flash. So you remember that thing that you put on the front, this little fella here, right? I tested it out, and this is using the speed light TTL bouncing off the ceiling, right? So the only way you can engage the that fill light when it's on is to point the flash at the ceiling. Like not great, right? And then this is with it on, right? So that's with the fill light on, that's with the fill light off. Yeah, so this is the flash pointing at the ceiling. Now granted, I could have got her to lift her chin up into the ceiling a bit more, sure, but this is with the fill light in there. I think I don't know where you can see it in this, but I think in the original you can actually see two tiny catch lights in there, yeah, as opposed to just the one. So we can see, right? So you can see here, there's this kind of shadow from, I presume, the fill light, yeah, going off, and then you know you've got the shadow here because the light's bouncing off the ceiling, and that's, so look, you know, it's okay. It seems like it didn't have. I couldn't change the power of it in any way, so I was just kind of fortunate that it seemed to work. I hadn't, unless it was all TTL'd, but there was no way of me adjusting the power of that fill light. So what you see is kind of what you get. Look, you know, it's nice to have, and I could see myself testing it in other situations to see what else it would be useful for. But better to have it than not, right? Has anybody used that? Has anybody used the fill light on any of these? Is this a brand new thing for the V100s? Anybody know? Or is this the first time you guys have seen that? And just a reminder, I'm talking about that thing there, right? So it'll only fire when you angle the flash up, right? So it won't even fire like that. It'll only know you've got it up like that. right? Yeah, and he just pops on the front there. Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. I've also seen online 2 flashes front and main aren't the same colour, slight difference. I've also seen online the 2 flashes front and main aren't the same colour. Oh, you're saying this is a different colour to that? Really? I didn't notice that. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's going to happen between any 2 flashes. Maybe there was. Okay. I mean, I could see it happening. Yeah. I could see it being something that would happen. That's interesting. Okay, so what you're saying is that the Kelvin on this fill flash is kind of different to this flash. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, you guys couldn't see that. I was just kind of switching back to these. I couldn't really see much of a. I couldn't really see a huge color shift between them. Difficult as well because you're bouncing it off the ceiling. I mean, that's not. Pretty sure my ceiling is not. Me using this speed, like when I really was dreading doing this review because I was like, what am I going to do with it? But that TTL outside off camera flash, just with like I said, I just had that pop up beauty dish there. Like, are you kidding me? Manual focus lens, vintage lens there, just working seamlessly every single shot. TTL. What, are you kidding me? Like, this is crazy how efficient that is. Now, one thing I will add about these shots was that I tend to bring my images down a little bit. So at the TTL, I usually had about minus a third of a stop, minus two thirds of a stop, bringing it down a little bit, just to I didn't want any kind of blown out highlights on the skin or anything like that. So I would just bring it down a touch. Last thing, one thing to say on this, I'll just wrap this up. I know it was a Technique Tuesday last week, so I'll just mention it here. When people shoot with their speed light and it's off to the side here, right? This is what you get. You get this nasty shadow off to the side. So the speed light is on there. One thing I will say, it's got a really satisfying click when that's locked into the hot shoe. Simple thing, but I've certainly had them fall off in the past. Yeah, so when you're shooting like this, obviously the light is coming off to the side, which is what you get with that shot there. And I see people doing this all the time. I've seen a bunch of videos from professionals on YouTube doing it as well. Look, it's easily done, right? But when you're shooting in portrait, do try and have something like a bracket like this. I posted this last week, and Danny showed me an incredible bracket that he has that essentially you can switch between portrait and landscape, which looks like super cool. But truth be told, there's a tripod plate on the bottom of there. I can't put it on. But truth be told, there doesn't seem to be too many manufacturing people out there making that L bracket, which is weird to me because it's something that should be mandatory, really. Because ideally, what you want is something that, like Danny has, that switches between portrait and landscape, right? Not ideal. Yeah, not ideal. Okay, let me just grab that article so it makes more sense in case you missed it. A bunch of people in the comments actually of this article posted about alternatives that they use, but none of them kind of had the functionality that Danny Campbell's had that he shared, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Let me just see if I can grab it. Yeah, where did he post it? I think he posted it on my Facebook. Maybe it was on the original post. See, 2 seconds. Nope. Oh, there you go, yeah. So, I'm not 100% on how this switches, but Danny was saying, so my custom rotating camera bracket, it rotates horizontally and vertically in a split second and holds the Enchrome Skyport hot shoe. So I would be kind of curious to see a video of that working, because, I mean, that's perfect, right? If that switches over there instantly, That's nuts. Yeah, but I can't. My brain can't work out how it's doing it from that image. Yeah. It's the best thing that's ever happened to my photography. I wish someone could help me finance and build it. Danny, right? Because it's not out there, man. I looked when I was writing the article. I was like, I mean, I just picked up a £8 one on, £7 one on eBay. I was like, I'm just doing this review. Just let me grab one, and I couldn't find one. Yeah, so it's, and look, a bunch of people posted in the comments of my article, Danny. Like I was going, look, if you've got an alternative, show me, right? And a bunch of people posted the ones that they were using in the comments here. None of them do what yours does. Yeah. So there's definitely some mileage in that. Yeah. Okay. So the metal bracket on the side turns. I'll do it. Yeah, I'd love to see a video of it, man, because I really can't, and I'm sure as soon as you show it to me, you'll be like, okay, but yeah, I can't really, see it. Yeah, nice, do it, Danny. Yeah, I am genuinely interested in seeing that. Yeah, because I know you're saying it turns, but I can't work it out. Yeah, very cool though. Yeah, okay. So yes, that was the Godox V100. Anybody got any questions about that? I think I covered everything I wanted to cover. It's got, like I said, it's got all the usual things in there. Maybe Small Rig can help out. Yeah, true. Yeah. Is Small Rig owned by Small Rig anymore? Or did they get taken over? I'd have to check. Yeah. So yeah, I think, like I said, I think that's everything. You got high-speed sync in there as well. You got the multi sync in there as well. This also works with the Sony global shutter now as well. So I know there's usually a bunch of Sony shooters in chat, and I know a bunch of you obviously super happy about the Sony global shutter. So this will sync with that as well, which I presume is cool. Not something that I use, so I don't know. But yeah, it's good to have that option there. Yeah. So Steve's shown me a secret menu in there. I really should have read the menu, the instruction manual. But yeah, other than that, this is the menus that I saw. Yeah. So that's where all the good stuff is. And then I was just doing the rest of it with the trigger. Yeah. So if anybody's got any questions on that, or I'm going to try and put together like a proper article about it for next week. Fingers crossed. I mean, the images have been shot, so it should be fairly straightforward. But look, final word on this. When I was out there, I was having fun with it. Right, I was having fun, and it's kind of difficult in the studio. You got 5-6 lights set up. You're trying to mentally manage everything, right? And he's just like, oh, it's not going perfectly, that sort of stuff. You're throwing this thing on the camera, going outside, and just mucking around with some long exposure shots like that. I loved the images that I got with it. And look, bottom line, I had a ton of fun playing with this. Yeah, I had a ton of fun playing with this, and I mean, I absolutely love the shots that I got with it. So very, very impressed with what this speedlight can do. Now, some of you are saying, look, Jake, I've been using speedlights for years, so it's kind of difficult for me to go, oh, this is like an incremental upgrade or a massive upgrade. But from when I used speedlights years ago, this is huge compared to what I was using years ago. So very, very impressive piece of kit. So thank you to Godox for sending it over, and thank you to Essential Photo for sending it over as well. Let me grab the links and stuff here. So here in the UK, it's the Essential Photo. What? Doesn't it like that? Oh, is it too long? Okay, let me just see if I can. I presume the chat window has a character limit. Yeah. So that's that V100 there. Just over 300 quid. So I mean, if you're going to be using that in earnest, this thing for 80 quid, this thing is awesome. Yeah, this thing is great. For me, it's worth it for that one feature of being able to use it right next to the light. I get 100% worth it. Yeah. So yeah, nice piece of kit. Nice interface as well. Just plugs into USB-C, charges super quick. Has a big kind of charging icon on the front. The battery, whole thing lights up, charges super quick, and just lasts for ages. So definitely check those out. Yeah. So Jamie says, I've gone down the small rabbit hole now, and I'm trying video. Okay, Jamie. Yeah. Never used them myself, but yeah, I shot some video last week, and only took me 3 days to edit it. But now I feel more comfortable with the video editing side of things. I might grab some footage the next shoot and have a play with it. What's the best flash for non-TTL cameras like f3? So what do you mean by non-TTL? Are you talking about the fact that it's just a cold shoe? Is that what you mean? Is that what you mean by that? My best bet is just to use a cable, because it will have a sync cable. It should still work. I need to test it on an old camera, but in theory it should still work, because when I tested it, it's not talking to the camera. It's looking at the light coming back to it through the lens. So it's not technically talking to it like I thought it was doing. I thought it was giving it the readout from that trigger and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'd have to test that. It's a good question though. Yeah, because you're talking about a proper old school film camera, right? Yeah. Cold shoe. I don't know, actually. Vlad, have you got any suggestions? If you're still here, I know you've messed around with some of those in the past. Is it either that, or you just using like a regular flash that just fires? I think if you can fire the flash, you should be able to get TTL to work. That's my guess. If you can sync it up via the flash port and a sync cable, which is what we used to do with cold shoes years ago, I think TTL should work because it's not talking to the camera. Yeah. I mean, any old flash should work on the F3 manually. Okay, Vlad, yeah, there you go. So any old flash should work, and it should fire it. And I think that if it's TTL, I think the TTL shouldn't matter. Yeah, don't take my word as gospel, but based on what I was using, an old manual lens that was not talking to the light in any way, yet was still exposing perfectly every single time. Like, don't know. Unless it was just luck. I mean, it could have just been luck that the exposure was right. But yeah, you guys are making me think about it now. I'm gonna have to test it. Yeah, I have to test it. But in theory, it's taking a flash and it's reading that first flash, and then adjusting the power based on that, so it doesn't have to talk to the camera. Yeah. Sure, it's not talking to the sensor. Yeah, I mean, it's talking to the sensor in some way, but I was thinking if you could hook it up rather than using the. When you say sensor, you mean this, right? The trigger. Or you actually mean the camera sensor? Yeah, I would need to test it. I do have an old camera here. I could test it. You know, any old camera has a cold shoe, right? Or I could just test it with my modern camera and then just not plug it into the hot shoe. Thinking about it. Yeah. Okay. Good question though. Good question. Yeah, I'll have a look. Oh, lastly, yeah. So the I meant to say about the magnetic ring after I told you that it doesn't make a difference. So these, like the modifiers and that sort of stuff, will go on there, right? So the magnetic ones. So these modifiers are from the MS60R kit thing, you know, the Coke can lights that I had. These, that's what these are from, and I was like, it looks about the same size, and it is, yeah, it's the same size. Yeah, so you can use all these filters and stuff on it, as long as you got the black ring and not the black ring and not the red one. haven't tried these either. I could see this. I could see this being useful as well. Yeah. Oh, okay, it's on. I was worried it wasn't going to hold its weight, but it does. Yeah, it does. Yeah. That's kind of cool. Yeah. Okay. Let's have a look on there. Can recommend the Godox Lux Senior for the film cameras. It even has one of the very old auto modes when put in aperture. Well done, Leo. Good lad. Let's have a look. The old Godox Lux Senior. Oh, really? Interesting. It even has one of the very old auto modes when you put it in aperture. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Really? I'll be damned. Good shout. Good shout, man. Well done. Okay. Yeah, I've not really seen anything about this. But then I've been out of the speedlight game for a long time. But okay. Very cool. Oh, that just packs away like that. Nice. Nice. Okay. Good shout, Leo. Well done. Yeah. I think you just introduced me to a new toy. Yeah, right. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. Don't quote me on that, but I think don't quote me on this, but I think that also the Profoto Click might also be compatible with the round head from Godox. Oh yeah, no, absolutely, totally unconfirmed. Gripes, absolutely unconfirmed. Just there's no way of knowing whether that's compatible or not, but it is worth considering. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's got to be exactly the same size, right? It has to be, yeah. So what Gripes is suggesting there, or alluding to, that if you did have some of the Profoto magnetic modifiers, that he's thinking, hypothetically, that they may also fit on the front of that V100. I guess we'll never know, but it's, good suggestion, good suggestion. All right, guys. I think that's pretty much covered the V100 there. Like I said, I'm trying to put together a proper article and put those images together. But yeah, I absolutely had a ton of fun with that. It's certainly something that I will be digging out again in the future. I know that kind of long exposure speedlight thing is kind of cringe for wedding photographers, but it's been so long since I've done it that I had a ton of fun with it. Yeah, ton of fun playing around, because like all the images were different, long exposure and that sort of thing. So if you haven't played with that technique, definitely give it a go. And I'll probably do a Technique Tuesday on it, because it's not too tricky, but there are a couple of things that I thought worked well. Underexposing the background by probably 2 stops, setting the flash to full zoom at 105mm, TTL, get the L bracket on there. Off you go. Yeah. That's the YouTube short, Technique Tuesday. Yeah, nice. Okay, good stuff. Check out the Godox Lux Master. Is that what this is? Or is it different? Senior. Oh, junior. Okay. Oh, these baby ones. Master. 220 quid for this thing. Okay. I believe it was last year the Godox released a line of vintage looking flashes. Okay. Is it just cashing on the vintage trend though? Don't get me wrong, it looks cool, like the silver and the black and that stuff. I wonder if it's any good or not. I'll just get a little screen on the back. Hey? F3 in there, mate. I can see it. Yeah. Nice. Okay. Good shout. Yeah. No, not seen it. Oh, is it? I'm not even getting involved in what that is. Is that a battery pack or something? Yeah. Okay. Right. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. Let's turn that off. Oh, and just lastly, on that, that's the bracket that I was using for the S-Fit the reason I mention this is because it has this this section in here that you can pull out to make sure that it works with the round head, so you can clamp it in there. Whereas this is for like your regular square speed lights, and then you can pop that out and use it on the round one. So it's kind of perfect. A lovely bracket on that, Vlad, I will say. Beautiful. Okay. It's cashing in on everything. Yeah, I mean, it's true, right? They are. Yeah. I believe it was last year they got cashing in everything. By the way, I just noticed, are we having a Dutch tilt on the stream camera? That's yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah, I mean, it's always been like that. It's because it's off to the side and looking up at me. Yeah, I'm amazed it's taken you guys that long. See that bookcase in the back? Nice. Yeah. Already got 2 of those. Knew it. All right, then, guys, good stuff. Let's have a look at, before my laptop catches fire or I catch fire. Let's have a look at the share a shoot. What we got here. If anybody wants me to buzz you any links or anything like that, let me know. I'll just park that down there and forget about it forever. BTS. You see that? I'm making reels all the time now. It's gross. Gross. You saw that L bracket on the camera though, right? Boom. Shooting portrait, little trigger on there. Photography's never been easier. And there you go, I said it. Right, let's look at this share shoot. What we got going on here? Let's give this a quick refresh. Man, it's getting sweaty in here. Okay, let's see what we got here. Ooh, Paul, liking that, man. That's looking good, man. Love that. 16. Everybody coming in late. Nice. The old laser measurer. Love to see it, Leonard. Good stuff. Okay. I've got some late bloomers here. Let's have a look. Vlad made it to the start already. Shot this last week. BTS in the next comment, and sneak peek of what I'm working on under that. Nice. Okay. So I'll save my questions about this harsh band for a moment. BTS okay to play with sound. Okay. Good shout. Just turn you up there a bit.
I want to show you how I'm getting vintage but very saturated colors in my studio portraits without using any kind of RGB lights. And I'm building this look from the background towards the camera, starting of course with a big fill light. This one is spilling white light into the room, and I'm underexposing the background in camera with around 1 stop. And while I'm here, I'm also pushing down the white balance of the camera so the wall looks a bit blue. Now I'm also going to add a circle of light on the background, but I want to keep it subtle, so 1 or 2.
What head is that, Vlad? Oh yeah, what power is that? Because that's a long old projection on that.
% is gonna be enough. You see, this already looks nice. Now let's illuminate myself. And for that, I'm using this 40-watt LED light inside of an octobox so it won't spill on the background and really close to my face. And this is how everything...
So you notice how deep that umbrella thing is that Vlad's using there. Like a regular umbrella would definitely spill out across, so it's just note how far he's pushed that light in so that it's not spilling out onto the background.
Looks from the perspective of the camera. Now let's take it inside of Lightroom and give it that vintage feel. And in here I'm going to erase the blacks, lower the contrast, apply the camera profile color response curve of Godox 400 and combine that with Kodak 2383 for a very contrasty look. And I'm going to tweak the colors just a bit more by adding a bit of red into the shadows, a bit of green into my midtones, and a bit of yellow into my highlights. And to get this final look, you need to add a ton of grain and finesse the image just a bit more.
Ton of grain.
But I'm running out of time, so I'll see you in the next one.
Is this a free sale? Yeah, we're doing promo for Jamie and then promo for Vlad this time around. Yeah, yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Great video. Yeah, short and sweet. I like it. I got 2 of those cheapo head. So it's a cheapo head, $40 optical snoot. Okay, yeah. Is that preset on sale, Vlad? Yeah. Where is the? Let's pop the links in chat, Vlad, for the presets. Yeah, let's have a look. It's good stuff. Good stuff, man. Yeah, yeah. So that, you're saying that snoot was $40, Vlad? That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy, man. Yeah, because it looked like I mean, obviously you got that weird kind of artifacting, brighter rim, but like for $40, that's crazy, man. Yeah, you see it back there. Yeah, yeah. You've done a good job at that quite acute angle to get the circle pretty circular, because normally you're trying to keep it head on, but it's actually pretty good. Yeah. Oh my god, now where are we going? Okay. Shitty phone photo, the little screen's flickering like crazy. Oh, is this the little LED panel you had there at the back? Is that what that is, Vlad? Yeah. Let's have a look at these presets. Let's see if they're any good or not. We got loads now, Vlad. Nice, man. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. I will say I've got this one here from Vlad, all in one grain. Very good. Very, very good. Can recommend. I think it's actually at the top here. It's yours, Vlad, right? Yeah. See, look, he names it 000, so it's always at the top of your presets. Pushing his way to the top. Yeah. Yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. You got loads now. That's crazy. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty cheap as well, man. Pretty cheap. Respectfully. Good stuff on that, Vlad. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that kind of highlighted ring, but otherwise in terms of the colors and the lighting and stuff, beautiful. Yeah, you got a bunch of fill on this side as well, which is nice. Yeah, good amount of fill back there. It's good. Yeah. And this is the panel, right? Yeah. It's on sale the month of May. Don't say you missed it. Wow, man, just calling us out for missing the sales. We got one from Paul here. This is awesome, Paul. Yeah, really good, man. Love this. So this is the light setup I'm really enjoying at the moment. Just one large. I read that weirdly. One large highlight to the rear. No additional lighting. Love the way it works with the skin. Godox 8400 in the highlight. Nice. Okay. Yeah. So great stuff, man. Yeah, and this is something that we've kind of covered it over the years on Technique Tuesdays and that sort of stuff. But one of them ones where you kind of the big softbox behind you, turning it up enough that it kind of bleaches out. And you can do this with CTOs and CTBs as well in there, so it still goes white, and then you have this beautiful glow around here. Is there any color on this, Paul? It seems like there's color on there, but I didn't want to just assume that you've got some sort of color back there, or maybe you've just color graded it afterwards. But beautiful light. Yeah. And then it's kind of interesting. I presume you're kind of standing with a wall behind you or something like that, because you say you've got one large light, no additional lighting, so a lot of this light must be bouncing off a wall behind you, right? So to actually fill her in there. Yeah. Color as the preset lightroom. Nice. Okay, sweet result. Even easier. Okay, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Yeah. Studio's all white. Okay. Yeah. So what Paul's saying here, he's got his own studio there. It's all white, so the light is going to be bouncing around. So this is why we're getting kind of light on the front of her here, even though it's just one light. Yeah. Good stuff, man. Really good stuff. Real clean as well. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Do I need to bring that into Photoshop to check that is clean? Let me turn this off. phone is about to catch fire. Let's see. Yeah, let's turn that off. Oh, hey Jay, how you doing? You loving that? Those Vlad presets? Let's see. Should we see if catch Paul live? Let's see. Okay, so it's not white then. Okay. Nothing wrong with that. This will drag the at the grey. You don't need to worry too much about the edges, right? Because it's only affecting the highlights. So yeah. Okay, let's see what we've got here. So from Wibbly, shoot on Sunday with styling by CC Lerny Creations and Model. Okay. Western actress Lottie, CC welcome. 3 lights set up in my home studio, including a gelled CTO on an optical snoot, blinds effect over. Okay, you can see the blinds effect back here as well. To get details about that in-person course when you planned many moons ago, Jake, I've been able to get a bit more frisky with the gels, rotor lights. So that was the video that I shot last week, Wibbly. Yeah, so I've shot the video for the promo for it, edited it. It took way longer than it should have done, but I haven't edited video in forever. Downloaded a program called CapCut, which is actually very, very good, and edited it all together. So there's no excuses now. Yeah, there's so many shoots. So like Jamie, I presume, has been sitting on a bunch of shoots and not sharing them until he released his book. I've kind of been the same. I've had a bunch, like tons of shoots that I've kind of been sat on that I haven't shared any of the images from. Specifically, a brand new technique that's going to be released in that workshop. So yeah, it is imminent. It is imminent. I can't, I wasted 3 days on the damn video. I have to release it now. So let's have a look at your shot here then. So I mean, look, for the most part, it's looking good. I mean, the shot you've done well, considering it's a shot in a home studio. It certainly doesn't look like that. So you've done well with the space there. So I'm just like, the gobo is not. Is kind of, it's there but it isn't, and I'm thinking about the lighting for the story that you're trying to tell. Obviously I don't know the story that you're trying to tell, but we do seem to have a kind of a sad clown. Even the makeup has the like the kind of running makeup look as well. So I may have gone for kind of a more contrasty type of light, but personal preference, right? And then the gobo at the back is kind of tricky, because the way that you use that gobo, it looks like a gobo and not blinds, right? So what do I mean by that? It's kind of difficult to explain without showing it, but the lines are kind of coming out from the center, quite obviously coming out from the center, which it obviously indicates that it's a light. So the only way around that is to kind of try and bring it further back. You're in a home studio, so I know that's difficult, but ideally we'd want the lines to be, I mean, you don't need to be all straight like that, but all kind of perpendicular to one another, so that it looks like an actual window rather than a gobo. But again, that's just something that not many people would kind of pick up on, so it's not a huge deal. Color-wise, I think it's good. The colors that you've gone for, it's kind of tricky to make the magenta and orange work, but I think it does, right? I think, what are we doing? Like, we're doing the kind of the 60-30-10 rule here. So we've got a lot of brown, we got our orange, and then we've got our kind of key color here. So I think it works. Yeah. Isn't it funny how blasé we get about releasing images as time goes by? So what do you mean by that, Stanley? What do you mean how blasé we get? You mean normally we just take an image and just instantly share it, or the fact that we kind of don't, or we don't do that? Yeah, kind of curious as to what you mean by that, because I'm kind of torn on the. I see people releasing just an entire shoot all in one go now, right? So like if you give images to a model, it could be 12 images from a single set, and they'll just post all 12 images at the same time, and you're just like, but that's just me, right? That's what people do now. They just post everything up all at once, boom, all in one go, and that's it. And maybe that's the way to do it, but it definitely loses its impact if you're not just looking at one or two shots. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what do you do, Sterling? Do you release just like one or two images at a time, or you just dump the whole shoot up at once, like an Instagram model would do? Yeah. Yeah. I've kind of gotten more lax with it, and I'll post. I used to only ever post one image at a time. Now I kind of do maybe 2 or 3 at a time. Yeah. Yeah. This is cool, then. So we got, on topic of unusual lights, the laser spirit level. Nice, yeah. Unfortunately, had a tripod mount, so we tried to incorporate the red lines to combine symmetric and asymmetric elements in the image. We used an ND filter in front of the laser. Nice, good idea, to break up the lines a bit and make it safer for the eyes. Although the level was already marked as eye safe. True. Yeah. LED light from the back to match and enhance the red color on the wet hair. Okay. We used a flash as a key light, by the way. Okay. Laser was so dim we needed a rather long exposure, 160. Oh, so 60 is fine, yeah. So this is cool then. Yeah, I love this. I've kind of played with these over the years with light painting as well, right? So you just kind of see, I'm just holding it, light painting, very, very cool. But love what we've done here. Really kind of love what you've done with the color as well. I think going like really, really hard into that blue and red there, I think is definitely the way to go. But difficult to do because the model can't see anything, right? She can't see where it is. You're kind of directing her. You're obviously trying to get it like dead on the nose there, so very, very tricky. But yeah, love this. Personally, I would personally buzz this out here in the background, these ones here, and just keep it on the face. I just think that would help to clean it up, right? So just these ones here, I would just buzz those out. I just think I would just keep the background separate. The reason being is because we've already separated her. Like we're kind of fine with the background, but these lines tell us how close she is to the background. When we don't really need to know that. So just buzzing these out helps to kind of keep her a bit more ethereal in the shot, as it were, which matches the type of lighting, in my opinion. Yeah. But very cool. They're very cool. Yeah. I give them to the models or subjects. I prefer one great one if possible. Spread them out. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just let them think up interesting captions and help me as a collaborator. Oh, you do that? Okay. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Yes, that's one way of doing it. Just let them post it, and then if they tag you, then just do that. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. But yeah, great job on the post pro on this, Leonard. I love where you've gone with the colors. Works really, really well. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, and. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, when I used it in the past, I didn't use ND filters on the laser. You're right to be cautious. You are definitely right to be cautious. But yeah, I think these ones that are used for domestic purposes, like this, measuring distances and that sort of stuff, is probably going to be fine. Yeah, but yeah, better safe than sorry, right? Yeah, but great shot. Love it. Yeah, great shot. Oh, more fucking Jamie shots. Really? Got to look at another Jamie image. Shoot from the other week. Just wanted to do a simple feathered light, one strobe setup. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Is this in the book? I don't remember it from the book, actually. Is this what you've got more work that didn't make it into the book? How much are you shooting, man? That's crazy. This is a great shot, though. Good stuff. Good stuff. Is that background real, or have you dropped it in? It's nice to see that you've got that kind of background texture out of focus. Looks good, man. Looks good. Yeah, very clean. Like the actual kind of fade off in the background as well with the grad. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. This is 1% saturation, is totally fine. Black and white would have been an instant kick, but the 1% saturation I can live with. Oh, she's wearing the Love Rocks. Yeah, from Rio Love. Yeah, a model I used to work with years ago. They look cool, man. She's absolutely taken off with these necklaces. Yeah, really, really cool. Yeah. One from Lizzie here. Okay, so this one is either going to make you go wow or tell me bad Lizzie, never do that again. Okay, Okay. So I love to challenge myself. I decided to see if I could pull off Lindsay at a Hollywood Glam 5-light setup. Okay. However, instead of using expensive studio lighting, I wanted to see what I could pull off using simple home LED RGB smart bulbs. I paid about $20 for 4 of them. Wow. Yeah. I was actually impressed with how well they did. No gels used. You could easily add them. The best part, the bulbs do not get hot. True. You don't have to worry about the gel melting. No, use them all the time. I can easily control them with my phone. So these are LED RGB. Okay. Yeah. So you can just change the color on the phone. It's very lightweight and portable. I will post a picture of one of the actual bulbs used for the photo below. Reply with the background is my Mylar. Okay. Okay. So we're using multiple color bulbs and that sort of thing. Yeah. So, bottom line, yeah, I respect anybody that is trying to push themselves and play with new ideas and test things out, which is exactly what you've said here. You said I wanted to test myself, whatever. I think you said that. I'm pretty sure you did. Love to challenge myself. There you go. Yeah, and look, I think we all need to do that from time to time. It's just try something new. Not everything's gonna work out. And that may lead to a new idea and a new direction and that sort of thing. So the one downside of using the bulbs that you're mentioning here is the control of the bulbs, right? The actual control of the light. And I'm guessing that a lot of this has been pushed in post, which is why we're getting this kind of breakup on the skin here. We've got a little bit of movement there. LED bulbs are probably fairly low watt. I forget, I think Vlad mentioned that he might have got something similar and they were very, very kind of low power. They might have even been 4 watts or something like that. So you got the downside of the cranking up the ISO or then long kind of shutter speed to get a little bit of movement, and then we have the very kind of uncontrolled light, so light's just going everywhere. And what can happen when we do that is we can kind of mixing colors together gives us these kind of weird colors, washed out colors, and they where colors will start to band when we mix colored light on top of one another. So we can kind of see it here where these two lights are kind of crammed against one another. You see it kind of banding. It's just like it doesn't like it, right? And that's where we kind of get these weird artifacts and banding is when we start mixing colors like this. And the reason why yours is mixing is because they're not being modified. So I mean, I think you can do this. I just think that try and use them, but then think of the person or the model as like a canvas. So break up the model into sections, right? So just have one light in the front, right, and just lighting the front, and then maybe one light from the back. So try not to let them all fall onto the same part of the skin, right? So if they're looking over this way, having a light here and then having a light back here, so they shouldn't, like, the lights shouldn't fall onto the same area, right? And then you can use one in the background, so you're basically keeping the lights separate, and that will help to clean up a lot of these kind of artifacting. But yeah, look, bottom line, playing with new ideas is really what it's all about. And frankly, like, we all need to do more of that, myself included, right? I mean, I would never have used that speed light the other day unless I'd kind of been encouraged to, and I had a ton of fun with it, and I definitely will be playing with some of those ideas more in the future. So it's always worth playing, right? Oh yeah, these little things. Yeah. That's a crazy shot in the background there, Lizzie. Is that one of your long exposure light painting ones? That's nuts. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Oh, it's one done with a cheap speed light. I mean, it works, right? And that's the same thing. You're outside, light in the front. That's all you need. Yeah, nice. Real background. Oh, it is good. Kate's background. F312 whereabouts. Hey, interesting. Okay, so okay. I was going to say you've edited that really cleanly, but there are some in that book that have all been edited really cleanly, so I had no doubt you could have dropped that in. Yeah, okay. But I was going to say, look, you've knocked the texture in the background out of focus. I was about to give you brownie points for that, but it's a real backdrop, so that's happening automatically. Nice, good stuff. I have not heard of Kate's backdrops, though. I'll have to have a look. Yeah, okay. Interesting, yeah. Also, I'm sure the Mylar didn't help with mixing. Yeah, I mean, you can get... It can work. Um, everywhere. Yeah, but it definitely can work. These are actually pretty. These are actually pretty good. I forgot about these till you mentioned it. Yeah, those colours are actually beautiful. Yeah, there you go. There you go. I forgot about these. Hmm. I should shoot this like super high res. I should set that up again and shoot that super high res. But there's some beautiful, beautiful great gradients in there. It's kind of cool. Okay, yeah. Anybody's interested? Is my logo created by Crop Cloud? Oh, wait, in the background? No way. Is that what that is? Oh, this. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I was talking about the image. Surely that image is light painting though, or not? Oh. Okay. So we got on from Michael here. First time, please be kind. The key light is a beauty dish with a blue gel. Okay. Filled strip box with same blue. Standard reflector with dark orange left. Okay, so we can see that here. So we've got the dark orange over here. Key light is the blue beauty dish. We can see the blue here. Fills a strip box. So what, on the floor in front here? Same blue in the front. Okay, so filling in the shadows there. Standard reflectors with dark orange left and right. So yeah, we've got these boom and boom. The background of purple in the middle. Too much smoke. I think smoke's okay. I think yeah, smoke adds a lot of texture to it. Are you in chat, Michael? Yeah, I love Myla. She has 6 fingers. Which one had what? Who had the AI? I need to look at that again. Yeah. Okay, so first time with gels. It's tricky. Yeah, it is tricky. It's funny. I was just chatting to Wibbly there about my video for my new workshop. It's called Color 2.0, and literally the first paragraph of the video is me kind of going, look, gels is easy to get into, but very hard to kind of get good at for a lot of reasons, like blown out colors, banding. Like these are all things we've kind of already just looked at in the previous images. So gels is tricky. It's easy to get into. Just throw some gels on the lights and off you go, but very tricky to kind of get clean, strong, vibrant colors. Now, one of the things that's going on here, and like you say, is first time, so totally understandable. This is actually pretty good for your first time because we've got the face was being lit by the beauty dish. She's looking towards the beauty dish, and we've got orange gels in the background, so we've kind of keeping it separate, right? So one thing, and the biggest piece of advice I can give you with gels, is to turn them down way more than you think. Right, so like this blue is overexposed. Now we have to kind of work out, do we want her blue? If you do want her blue, then this is probably like 1 or 2 stops overexposed. So we've got to turn that down so we can actually see the blue, because at the moment we've turned the power of that up so much that the blue is just like it can't give you any more blue, so it's given up, and now it's just starting to give you white light, and that's going to start to give you these kind of weird artifacts on the skin. And the same thing is happening here with the orange, right? So the orange is kind of blown out, so we have this kind of area where there's no tonality in the skin, and that's where we need to kind of turn down the power of that gel a little bit, probably at least a stop. Turn the power of that down, and then we'll start to see more definition and tone in the skin here. Okay, and that will help with that banding. So First piece of advice for the gels: turn them down, yeah, and try again. And one way to get good at that is to kind of turn the lights all the way down, take a shot, and then turn them up one at a time, right? Don't have the lights really powerful and take a shot and go, that looks okay. Turn the power of them down, take a shot, turn it up, take a shot, turn it up, take a shot, and then compare like that. Yeah. The smoke doesn't help, and the smoke is fine. I think the smoke is kind of adding this extra depth. The smoke is helping to keep her very separate from the background, which I think is fine. Yeah. One from John here is looking cool. So John says, I had an opportunity to shoot in a railway station. I was like, what? For a local fashion event last Sunday. Went to proceed this time with hard lights and gels. So 180-200 with red gel. So that's kind of like the big brother of a speed light, The 8200 with typically used with the exposed bulb. Yeah, very cool. So 18200 with the red gel, grid and barn doors as the background light. So we can see that back there. Very cool, very cool. 18200 with grid and barn doors, the main light, so on her there. And then one TD600 with pop-up beauty dish as edge fill light. So coming in from back here on this side, I presume. We do have a highlight here, but I'm pretty sure that we have more of a highlight on this side. So we do have this highlight here coming from somewhere. But this is great, John. Really, really good. Really nicely balanced as well. I think it's kind of difficult because with gels in this environment. So I've just spoken about exposure of gels, and there are some caveats to that, and that's based on the color and the texture that you're shining gels onto. With skin, you really got to turn them down. So what John's doing here is he's shining gels onto this kind of reflective roof, which probably means that he had to turn it up more than expected, and this is why we're kind of blowing out here in the middle. You can't really get away from it because this reflective surface is not going to show much in the way of color unless we really kind of crank it. So the only thing you could have done is to kind of hide it behind her, right? You get down just a tiny bit more. In fact, you getting down just a couple of inches would have probably covered that hot spot there. But otherwise, yeah, really good. I love this strong contrast between this kind of monochromatic tone in the front and then this very bright, bold color in the back. I think it's really cool. Yeah, great shot. Great shot. And look, you're on location at an event. You don't have a ton of control or time. So I think you've done really well to get this shot under probably very difficult circumstances. Yeah, great stuff, man. Great stuff. Oh, there we go. There's the light off to the left-hand side there. Yeah. Including BTS as well. Thanks for including the BTS. Yeah, so we got a light here. We got one over here and one back there. Nice. Yeah. Nice. Now, if you hadn't shown me that, John, I would have said that you'd fired that flash straight up. It's interesting that it's actually hidden behind her there. That's cool. Yeah. See how it's cast this shadow on the net in front? So her shoulder is casting a shadow of the red on the front of that net. That's kind of crazy. That's nuts. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Yeah, thank you for sharing the BTS as well. That's super useful. Yeah. Hey, no worries, Michael. Yeah, good luck, man. Look, it's difficult. Yeah, don't be disheartened about it. Everybody goes through exactly the same process. I assure you, you are not alone. Yeah. I thought I recognized this guy, Sterling. I thought I recognized him. So Sterling says, did headshots of Danny not long ago and decided this was the best Gobo projection on the black metallic curtain. Interesting. Used a small rig Fresnel with barn doors to create this slanted light on him from the front. Nice, man. Nice. Okay. This is great, Sterling. This is good stuff. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah. I love it. Background's kind of cool as well. It's kind of interesting, but not distracting. Yeah. Oh, it's his birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday for tomorrow, Danny. E31 again. Yeah. That's crazy, man. Crazy. Yeah, this is cool. This is cool. So, I mean, the only thing here, Sterling, is just watch this skin tone here with the yellows and stuff. You can kind of, I'm not sure what's causing it here on the day with the small rig Fresnel barn doors. Something's going on causing this color here, but yeah, just in post we can just keep these two colors the same with that new color layer, that I've showed you in the past, just to tighten that up. But yeah, otherwise I like this a lot. Yeah. And again, with these reds in the back, I'd probably just select the background and just make this red all the same tone. Because down here we've got the reds that have drifted into the pinks. So I would just make sure these reds are all the same tone. Yeah. Obviously, if it was a paying client, you would do that. But, I mean, for Danny, no need to go overboard, Get what you pay for is what I say. Last one here from Kevin's Life in the Cloud. Man, a few words, but respect it. So we got this is in the studio again, right? So is this? I don't know. Kevin, are you in here? How are people? I've seen these clouds before. I've never actually attempted to make them. It's not just cotton wool, just shredded or anything, is it? Like, is this a specialist thing that you have to do to make these clouds? But they are cool though. Yeah. Liking this painted backdrop as well. That's a massive one, or have you got multiple ones there? That's cool, This is a perfect representation of him and his personality. So this is pillow fill. Is that what you're saying, Sterling? Is that what this is? Is that what they make some of these fake clouds out of? Interesting. Okay. Okay. Yeah, cool. All right. Very thoughtful image at the end here. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, right. Was that everybody? I think so. So we can all. Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, good stuff, man. Another broad selection of images this week as well, which is good. Which has been good. Yeah. There was a phase where we just went through just tons and tons of light painting and long exposure, and then we haven't seen them since. It's weird, man. It's weird the way that maybe somebody puts something out and people go, oh, I want to try that. Somebody gets inspired by something that they've seen. We went through a phase of just tons and tons of long exposure light painting bits, and we haven't had it in ages. Yeah, kind of weird. But there's a good selection here, man. Bunch of gel work. I think most of it was color gels in one form or another. Yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Who can, just quickly before I end this, just real quick, guys, can you just let me know whether you predominantly shoot flash or predominantly shoot LEDs? I'm just kind of curious. The new workshop is going to be geared towards LEDs, but I am going to be sharing flash setups for all of them as well, so we'll be covering both. But it's Color 2.0, that's the name of it. It is kind of geared towards this new evolution of color that we have, specifically with RGB, right? And regards to, like, we have millions of colors to choose from with RGB as opposed to just like a handful that we have with gels. I'm just kind of curious, what are you guys shooting, just briefly before we go? You shooting flash? You mainly shooting flash, or you mainly shooting LEDs? Are you transitioning to LEDs? I'd actually love to know. Maybe I'll do a poll at some point in the future. More LED, personal creative shots for sure, using both depending on, so Gripes is using both. Okay, I think that's kind of where a lot of people are, Gripes. I would say most people are in that phase where they've got flash and they're kind of transitioning to LED, right? They kind of get a couple of LEDs here and there, and you know, they haven't bought 4 or 5 yet, so they're just kind of using both at the same time, which is what I was doing for ages, to be fair. So I would say you're probably like most people. So Leo says flash for clients. Okay, mobile on location, LED and home studio. Interesting, Leo. So why do you use, if you don't mind me asking, why are you using flash for clients? Is that because you're not sure, like you're turning up to an office or something like that, and you're like, I don't know how bright it's going to be? Because that was what I had with the hair shoot the other day. I was like, oh, do I turn up with the LEDs? I don't know how bright it's going to be. So I tell you what I did do is I took everything in the car. I was like, I'm going to try and shoot it with LEDs. And I'm gonna bring the flashes in the car, and look, I kind of brought the flashes in. I buckled at one point, or brought the flashes in at one point, and I was like, we can do it. Stay strong. So but it's weird, man. Because it's just that comfort zone, right? The flash gives you that comfort of being able to, you know, that you can just overpower any environment. There is definitely that comfort. Yeah. So Alan says he is using flash. Okay. Do you have any LEDs at all, Alan? In fact, do you have any interest in LEDs? You're just like, it's not for me. I don't want to buy everything again. I'm good, thanks. So Sterling says strobe flash for business work. Yeah, you see, it's so, yeah. Everybody's saying a similar thing, man. It's interesting. So Jamie says use both. Yep, same, agreed. Yeah, it's very difficult to bring strong enough LEDs when traveling, so strobe solve that issue. Yeah. So Gripes, same as Leo and Sterling. Yeah, so you say they like classic look for simple whites. Okay, so you're using them really for more, like, we've got the specific like high key look that you want, and flash is easier to do that. Okay. Leo says had a problem with mixing light and power outlets that are never on the right part of the room. Interesting point, Leo. Okay, so what you're saying is you've turned up to an environment and your LEDs are not battery powered. You plug them in, which is true, actually. I'm thinking about it now. A lot of my single point SFIT LEDs, I do have to plug into the wall. That's a good point. Yeah. So you're concerned about the outlets. Interesting feedback. Okay. Yeah. So Sterling says every once in a while I get someone who wants more creative. You just gotta force it down them. Just give it to them. Yeah. So when I'm in that situation, Sterling, I do tend to shoot both if I can, if I've got time. Because the normal white background stuff is fairly easy to do. I just do that, and then I go, oh, I've got this great idea. I think would work really well with your suit, your haircut, whatever. Just make up any old nonsense and go, I've got this really cool idea that I think would work really well with that. Would you mind if I tried it? And that's what I used to do, and that usually proved valuable. Usually made a bit more money doing that. Yeah. I would say about 50-50 on the flash, LED, but I do a ton of light painting, so I mostly depend on my flashlight. Nice, okay. So Alan says he's got one rogue light, small one. So yeah, it comes down to money. Yeah, absolutely, Alan. Yeah, you got to, just bought all flash, and then you got to start all over again. Yeah, I totally get that, because you do have to spend. You got to spend a little bit of money to get the power. You can't just go, all right, yeah, I'll get 4-watt LEDs and try it out. No, you got to spend 500 quid probably to get a half decent single point 500-watt LED. Yeah. So they just do a huge business girly calendar shot and did more with LED work. Okay. Worked a lot with fire as well. So you're incorporating ambient, whether it be fire and that sort of thing. Okay, yeah. Can't show this publicly though. Yeah, no worries, man. Yeah, all good. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can find my. It might not be on a different hard drive. Just real quick, I'll see if I can find the hair ones that I just did the other day. It were kind of. I can't remember what the shoot was called. Yeah, maybe I'll grab them for next time. But yeah, I was definitely worried. I was definitely concerned about it. Yeah. Was it on the? Maybe it was on the main system. Maybe I haven't farmed it out to the hard drives yet. I'll try and grab it for next time. Unless that's that there. Is there any here that are... Oh, so these were LEDs, yeah. Yeah. The reason it was an issue was because of how bright it was in the salon. That's why it was an issue. Yeah. That's why I was concerned. So I did have the Nanlite 600 in a big kind of softbox behind. But I'm ISO 200, see? 5.6. You guys can't see it because my camera's in the way, but yeah. 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 That's one light as well. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, interesting. I think a lot of people are doing both LED and flash at the moment, and a lot of you guys talking about just, you know what, it's just easier to take flash onto a job. And look, I was the same, right? I bottled it. I brought flash in the car, but I was like, let's try and see if we can do this all LED. Yeah. It is. It's an interesting time. But I do think that you've got to think new people, like kids learning photography today. There's just no way that they are not going to have to shoot video as part of their job as they're growing up. There's just no way, right? So kids starting today in college and universities and that sort of thing, learning photography, 100% are learning ambient lighting. They are. It's just, I mean, I'm sure they'll learn flash as well, but they will be using LED lighting because they'll have to shoot video as part of their, just part of their job. Moving forward, yeah. That's just my thought on it. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you for that. Everybody can go grab themselves a cold shower, lie down. Just going to sign off here. Make sure you're checking out my online workshops, bits and pieces like that. So check this out. So all of my kind of more advanced lighting is shared within these online workshops that I'm doing. Like Wibbly did point out, I'm definitely going to be doing the in-person again, but check those out in the meantime, especially if you're, overseas, can't make it to the in-person ones, then the online ones are very, very good. And mentoring as well. So if anybody wants to get any more in-depth, detailed look at going through portfolio, business, working through retouching styles and all that sort of stuff, then that mentoring is there as well. And Oh yeah, and make sure you do what Jamie tells you. All right, like, subscribe, bell, and buy his book, and get about £3. I get about £3 per one sold, mate. It's tough, man. It's tough. Yeah, books are rough. Yeah, I don't know whether you're being sarcastic or not. I honestly don't know. You may only, yeah, you could be telling the truth. It is wild, man. Yeah, books are a passion project. I don't think anybody really makes money on books unless you're like, New York bestsellers and that sort of stuff, where you just we do it doing a written book. But yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. Yeah, truth. I believe. I believe it, Jamie. I believe it, mate. Yeah, yeah. But like, it's an awesome product. Like, you should be very, very proud. You bring anything from just ethereal thought into physical product, you should be very, very, very proud of yourself. There's a ton of work in there, man. Huge amount of shoots. Beautifully finished. Like, there wasn't an image in there that I was like, ooh, rushed retouching on that. Yeah, it's definitely a beautiful product, mate. You done great work with that. Yeah, I'm glad it's finally behind you. You can take up knitting now, maybe a bit of cooking, something like that. Throw this photography stuff out the window, mate. You're done. You've mastered it.